is well. Hope everyone's had a good day. Apologies that we are delayed. I probably should actually just start this stream like 10 minutes later. We always run over. There's always comments that I don't get to on those member streams, and I really do try to get to as many as I possibly can because, well, I really appreciate the support. I appreciate the support of all of you. I appreciate the support of the members. I try to answer as many of those questions as I possibly can, and it always results in us being a little bit late. But, so yeah, I do apologize for that. But you're not here for that. You are here for NXT. So, with that being said, let's have a look, shall we? See what we've got on deck. This is the preview for NXT. So, we got Shawn Legacy, Eli Knight in that ladder match qualifier, Shiloh Hill, Josh Briggs in the ladder match qualifier. Ethan Page is going to defend the North American Championship against this newcomer, and I don't know anything about him. I know that he's competed in CMLL, just looking at that video package. It seems like he's someone that's got experience. He seems like he's someone that's they're quite excited by. You know, he's not gone through LFG. He's not gone through Evolve. He's gone straight to NXT. And so that says to me that he's got skills. Straight out the gate, they're like, yeah, we can do something with this guy on TV. So I am sort of expecting that I am going to be impressed to some degree with this guy. That he, you know, he's going to have, you know, lucha style. He's going to be, you know, Javon-esque, Leon-esque, Dragon Lee-esque, you know, Carmelo-esque. I'm expecting, obviously, that lucha style. I'm expecting a lot of fluid movement, a lot of aerial stuff, a lot of, you know, flips, reversals, moonsault, Spanish flies, springboard attacks, you know, all that kind of jazz. So we'll see what he brings, right? It'd be nice to see something innovative, something different. That would be nice. Maybe a bit too much to ask for the first match, but I don't know. You can only ever make one first impression. So I would say tonight's match is pretty important for setting the right tone. So I'm looking forward to that. And Ethan Page, I mean, a really good worker, someone that you can rely on, someone that's going to be able to make sure that, you know, this guy is showcased as prominently as possible, right? So Zaruka, Wren, QCC, and Fatal Influence are going to compete in a TNA Knockouts Tag Team title #1 contenders match. Quite hard to call. I mean, Zaruka are on the verge of splitting. I don't think they're going to give him a tag title run now, but they could do a little one and then split them. So I don't think they're the least likely for me, but then part of me thinks they're the most likely because they could give them the belts and, as I said, give them a run and then use losing those belts as the reason for the split between them. So Ren QCC, I don't know, are those the least likely? I sort of feel like Kendal has had a brilliant introduction to NXT. I think Ren Sinclair, this is a year for her to break out. And I feel like giving them a run with the tag titles would be a good showcase for both. I mean, you want to showcase Kendal as much as you can. I don't think you put in the top title on her anytime soon. Why not give her a run with a tag belt? You know, they are a team. You see them, not only are they in the Ren QCC, but they do their Wednesday videos together. They are always together backstage. I sort of feel like if Sol Ruca is not far away from the main roster, then why not go with Wren and go with Kendal? Kendal is someone you invest in. Absolutely. And if you can have her on NXT and TNA, then you've got Fatal Influence, who are like the top group, and you could totally see Gold come into that group. And, you know, you've got JC as the women's champ. Then you could have Fallon and Lainey as TNA tag champs. I mean, I think you could make an argument for all of them. I can't even really put them in an order. I don't even know who the favorites are. I think if we were to do a poll, I think Ruca would be favorites. But I think that's only because they're the most popular. I don't know if they are the... Because Ruca's meant to be going to the main roster. You know, at some point. Like, there's word that has already been discussed. And surely before she's going to do a feud with Zaria. Have we got time to do a TNA tag title run? But then it doesn't have to be long, does it? I don't know. It's tricky. It's tricky. Maybe Ruca should be the favorites. Then Fatal Influence, and then maybe Wren QCC. Perhaps they will get opportunity to shine this year. It's just not going to be in January yet. It's going to be, you know, a bit further down the road. Tricky one, that. I really don't have a lean as like, oh, it's this team. So I'll go Zaruka favorites, Fatal Influence second, Wren QCC third. I could be completely wrong, right? I have no read of it. Ethan against Elio LeFleur. I'll have to find out how to pronounce his name. Ethan retains by hook or by crook. Shiloh against Josh Briggs. I think they're all in on Josh Briggs. Sean Legacy, Eli Knight. Tricky, that. Technically, Eli Knight just signed an NXT contract. I don't think Sean Legacy did. So I'm going to go Eli Knight. NXT contract just signed. Evolve talent. I'm going to go Eli Knight. Josh Briggs. Ethan Page. Zaruka, but don't feel great about that last one. Okay, there we go. That is the breakdown for NXT. Edward said Zaria did great against Li Ying Lee on Saturday. She lost, but she got respect. Jason said, I've got a bunch of WWF stuff that I sold it now. Thinking about getting it back and collecting again. Yeah, I think we've all lost stuff from the past that we regret. There's loads. I mean, I had... One of the things that you could always find at a car boot sale was WWE magazine. I don't know why. Every time I went, I found at least one. And over the years, I was able to build up pretty much a collection of like mid-80s to mid-90s of magazine. I can't say I had every one, but I would go through and check that I had it. Like, I've got that month, just missing that. Yep. Yeah, pretty much there with 94. And I'd have them in piles. All of them got binned, just got thrown away. When we moved house, like my folks were like, "Oh, he doesn't need these anymore. He doesn't read them. Doesn't need them. Gone." Heart breaking. Benny said, Days, I've not seen too many people declare entry for the Rumble, so I'm going to put my name in the Rumble. I want to have a one-way ticket to WrestleMania. Have you finished Unreal? No, I was just talking about that on the member stream. I've got about 4 1/4 episodes in, so it didn't drop until 8 a.m. UK time, which is probably, I think that's midnight, isn't it, California? So it didn't drop until 8 a.m. and each one was around about an hour long, and there was 5 episodes. So 8 till 9, 9 till 10, 10 till 11, 11 till 12, 12 till 1. To watch all 5 and just not stop would have took me till 1 p.m. I didn't quite get to them the second they dropped. I was about an hour late, actually. And then I was like making a few notes and pausing and whatever and seeing what the online reaction was. So the bottom line was I got to about, I think it was about 2:30, coming up to 3 o'clock, knowing that the member stream was going to start at 10. And I hadn't quite finished everything. And I knew there was no way I was going to be doing a video. I mean, there's no way I was going to be able to pull all the information together, present it, edit it, upload it, thumbnail, all that stuff, and then get to sleep, and then get up to do a member stream. So I was like, it's not happening. So if we didn't do a member stream and maybe started NXT later, then yes, maybe we could have done that. Should I have done that? I have no idea. But I have seen about 4.5 of the episodes. I have not seen the back end of episode 5. Overview, I would say it's not as good as season 1 for me. I think there are moments in there that frustrate. Like Pat at one point was going to go over Gunther in that match. I mean, can you flipping imagine, right? There are, I would say whenever we go to the creative room, I get really quite frustrated. But that's, a whole side thing. So I think there are things that frustrate. I think there are insightful moments that are actually quite interesting to see. Like Eli Knight getting told off a little bit for the finish of the Money in the Bank not going the way that they wanted it to go. Which, that happens. I don't know about you. I'm actually shocked. And I have been for a long time. Unreal didn't show me this, but have you ever seen like Triple H going, right, so you do this, bang. So you throw in the shot, they go down, come over, stomp, over against the ropes, come in, they're up on their feet, pick them up, power slam, go to the corner, elbow drop. Does no one else hear him go that? And I think to myself, like, how would I remember all that? That is a part of wrestling that I think I would actually find the most challenging if I was a wrestler. If I was young and dedicated, well, I'd go to the gym. Yeah, I'd work out. I would sort my nutrition, right? I'm actually not someone, if I've got a schedule and a routine, I'm not someone that binges fast foods, not someone that drinks loads. I am someone that if I've got a routine, I can stick to it. What do I need to do? Right, do this now. Okay, I'll do that now. And I can do that. What do I do now? I'll go to the gym. Okay, I'll go to the gym. So I sort of feel like working out, nutrition, going to the PC, learning how to wrestle, promo, all that stuff, that does not worry me. All of that, I think I would have been fine with if I got into wrestling when I was young. The one thing, the only thing that genuinely makes me go, oof, that is something I would have to work on, actually, is where they're like telling you the match and all the spots, and you've got to try and remember. I mean, I'd be able to do it because I used to do theatre studies and you have to memorize scripts. You have to remember whole scripts of text. So, I used to do it. But, I don't do it now. I don't have to remember all this stuff now. And so, when you're hearing Triple H having conversations with producers, like they come off the ladder, they go down, you grab them, double underhook, take them down, stomp. He then goes against the ropes, comes back over, swinging net breaker, off the rope, into an elbow drop. Like, you're like, sorry, what? What was before the elbow drop? So I feel like there's bits in there that are interesting to listen to and insightful. There's bits in Unreal that's frustrating. There's bits in Unreal that's heartwarming, like R-Truth and Road Dogg and their relationship, right? There's bits in there that are good, fun. I think there's some fun moments, like when they all have to cover their ears when the pyro goes off in Gorilla, which I didn't know. And there's bits in there that I think probably shouldn't be shared. There's stuff like, apparently we were meant to get Demon Balor against Dominic at SummerSlam, and that's on one of the whiteboards. Now, that's interesting, right? And it tells us that all those teases was meant to lead to that, and then they changed their minds, and it didn't. And so that says that, how they string stuff out and they stretch stuff out. Yes, they are absolutely doing that, because they were going to pull the trigger at SummerSlam, and then we moved away from it, right? For whatever reason. The reason why I don't think that should be shared is because that hasn't happened yet. And it's a bit of a spoiler potentially as to where we're going. I mean, what that says to me is they are not against the demon coming back. What that says to me is that the demon probably is going to feature in the Dominic feud when we get to it. And I don't know, I would have just kept that a little under wraps, actually. That's one that I think I like Unreal because it shows you behind the scenes. And I think it's really interesting to get more context around moments that have happened. But I don't know that I need it to necessarily not ruin, but like, I don't know that I need it to share with me things that we haven't done yet or where we're going. I suppose it's interesting to know what could have happened and didn't happen. I think Roman Braun was also on one of those whiteboards that's got people talking. But like, I do look at the Finn Dominic one, I'm like, oh, we haven't even done that yet. So I sort of feel like you've put a bit of a spoiler out there that when we get to that feud, good chance the demon's going to be involved. Maybe we never get to that feud, but I'm pretty sure we will. I'm pretty sure we're going to do Finn Balor against Dominic, and, you know, now it's not unreasonable to think the demon is going to make his presence felt. So, yeah, maybe there's some bits in there that shouldn't get shared. I actually don't think there's loads, though. I just question some of the whiteboard stuff in the background. To be honest, I think a lot of the flipping creative stuff shouldn't be shared because I think a lot of the creative stuff makes them look like flipping clowns in a clown car. I mean, some of the conversations they were having, I don't know if it was just for cameras. And, you know, I'm sure there was much more insightful conversation that didn't make the show. But I don't know why they chose that scene where Triple H says to Road Dogg, or Road Dogg's like, oh, we've got something with Chelsea here. We should put the belt back onto her. So they took the belt off her. And now you've got Road Dogg going, nah, there's something there. We probably should go back to her. And first of all, you're like, that's how you flip-flop a belt around. Like, there's not really like a long-term structure in place. You're just like, oh, nah, she is good. Let's go back. Anyone else find that concerning? But not only that, you've got Triple H going, well, who's she going to feud with? And Road Dogg's like, I don't know. I just think there's something there. And Triple H is like, okay, well, let's walk through it, shall we? All the people that she can beat, she's beaten. And she can't beat the likes of an Alexa or a Jade or people like that because, you know, they're of a different level. So I'm going to go back again and say, who is she going to beat? And Road Dogg's like, well, yeah, no, I've got the same names as you. And you go, that is really a real conversation that happened in creative, is it? This is the greatest wrestling minds in the world, is it? Anyone else? I mean, it might just be me, but like, the way that I think about creative is you get the best storytellers, creative minds. Like, in my mind, it's like, it's going to be hard to get in that room, man. It's going to be hard. I mean, you might think you're good at booking, but these are the experts. This is like if you've got a football team, you know, you try and get the best manager. You try and get the best kicking coach. You try and get, like, you know, the best nutritionalist. You try and get, like, the best in class. You want the creme de la creme, yeah? I mean, this is why there's headhunting in the business world. People trying to take the best from each other. They want the best executives, the best, you know, minds in their businesses. I mean, you look at that creative room and there's just people like, should we do this? And they're like, but that doesn't make any sense. Like, should we have Pat beat Gunther? And one guy in the room goes, why are we doing that? Like, aren't we trying to build up Gunther? Like, is Pat going to be at SummerSlam? No. So why are we putting him over Gunther then? I mean, honestly, someone needs to get an AI video and go to Sora and just get it so that all the people that are sat around that creative desk, right, just stand up, go over to a little tiny car that's just waiting at the sides, and then they just kind of pootle around the table with some clown music playing, right? That's what I would do. I would get some footage of them all around the table, and then I'd say to Sora, make them all stand up, go over to a tiny or a couple of tiny clown cars that are over next to the table, have those cars just drive around whilst you play the circus music, yeah? Because that's how, honestly, there are certain scenes that are stunning when it comes to the creative room. It seems such a flat, uninspiring environment. And some of the conversations, I mean, listen, I'm all for throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. I'm all for just get your ideas out there, right? But first of all, the way the ideas are presented are very flat. There's no follow-up with the ideas. Anytime anything's questioned, everyone's like, I didn't get that far. Sorry, why are we having Pat beat Gunther? It's Pat. I don't know. Oh, okay. I'll write that down, shall I? Yeah, I'll write that down in the notes. It's Pat. Yeah. I'm sorry. We're going to put the belt back on Chelsea. Who's she going to face? I don't know. I'll jot that down. Don't know. Blimey now. This is the best of the best. This is the creme de la creme. This is the cutting edge of creative. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I am sure some of that stuff that we're talking about happens and just is not shown in Unreal. We just get shown little bits, right? Who signed that off? Surely WWE have got the ability to watch this back and go, oh, no, actually, that makes us look a bit stupid. Let's not put that in there. That's out of context. You know, we'd been in that room 10 hours. We'd done all the mad creative stuff. And then this was just like us at the end, quite tired. Just sort of like just throwing stuff at the wall. Honestly, I don't have a problem with that. All joking aside, I don't have a problem with it. But when it's the only thing that you're being presented in Unreal, you're kind of like, is this what it's like all the time? Because that seems so flat, so uninspiring. There's no follow-up behind the ideas. And this is the best of the best. This. Oh, man. You watch it and you go, oh, well, yeah, that's why 25 was the way it was. That's why 2025 was, you know, the way that it ended up. It's probably unfair. They probably do great work in that room, and they probably already went through all the good stuff. But there's a couple of examples I can give you from Unreal that just make you go, what the hell are they doing in that room? What the hell are they doing? So, yeah, you know, frustrating. There's parts of it that frustrate. There's parts of it that are heartwarming as well, though. I mean, Lillian in tears when she's saying to Naomi, you deserve this so much when she wins Money in the Bank. Like, so lovely. And actually, R-Truth, the way that he spoke about Road Dogg was, like, amazing. I didn't realize that Road Dogg was the one that found R-Truth and brought him in. I knew they'd teamed together, of course, but I didn't realize that he had gone and got him. And so, you know, R-Truth was ready to call it quits with wrestling. He was ready to go. He was getting nowhere. Road Dogg saw him at a show and was like, I love your stuff. I love your rapping. I love how agile you are in the ring. Listen, come and work with me. You know, and basically he got him the opportunity and boom. So, I mean, their relationship is a very, very close relationship. Both of them break down into tears at different points in that episode. I think it's episode 2. That's the one that focuses on R-Truth getting cut. And, you know, there's some heartwarming kind of moments there. Insightful looking behind the scenes with Chelsea busting her nose. She's talking about how many times she broke it. She gets told you're going to be out for 4 weeks. She's like, shocked, can't believe it. There's a moment backstage where, like, Zelina finds out that Zelina doesn't know. Zelina says to Chelsea, how did you do that? And she's like, well, you need me in the face. And you see the moment that it happens. And then you see her going off to medical, and you see what medical say. And I thought some of that was like quite insightful, was like kind of interesting. So there's bits in there that I think are interesting. Like LA Knight getting kind of told off a little bit. Whether that should have been in or not, it's hard to say, because, you know, I'm sure LA Knight doesn't feel great about that moment and, you know, wouldn't want it to get out there. But equally, that's the kind of stuff that makes this show worth watching. So debatable on that one, that it should have been included, but it was, and it was interesting. So there's bits in there that I think are insightful, are interesting, are the kind of behind-the-scenes footage that I want this show to be. Vast majority of it is propaganda. And, you know, like, oh, Jelly Roll's amazing, Pat's amazing, they're, you know, lifelong wrestling fans, blah, 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 right? A lot of it is propaganda. A lot of it is the machine doing what the machine will do. A lot of it is like, I'm Naomi, I've been in WWE this long. Here's a video package of, you know, what I bring to the table. So there's a lot of it you're like, yeah, don't need that. I know about that. Yeah, propaganda, don't need that. Just give me the stuff behind the scenes that I'm tuning in for, right? Give me the creative room stuff. I might find it frustrating, but I want to see it. Give me the people getting feedback stuff, yeah? We talk about that a lot. Give me that. I want to see it, right? And then you've got revelations in there, like Becky saying this is going to be her last contract, or she feels like it's going to be her last contract. And that resonated with the internet as well. So people are like, Becky's done. She's not going to sign again after this. So people are like, man, when the time comes, she should have her... And I don't know about you, but I've not been in a headspace to think of Becky Lynch retiring. I've not been in that headspace. And listen, there was nothing committed. It's not like she said 100% she's done. She may just move to a part-time deal and just do, you know, appearances. So it's kind of a story that's also hard to pin down exactly what she's saying. She says she believes, she thinks this is going to be her last contract. She might wake up tomorrow and feel different. She might feel different now that she's found this character, you know, this kind of Donald Trump-inspired character. So it's you know, I don't know how much we can read into that, but again, interesting. I found all those bits like interesting. So yeah, this I think it's a cocktail. Unreal is a cocktail. You will watch it. I think you will feel joy, sadness, frustration. I think insightful. I think it's informative in places. I think you might feel bored in some places because there's a lot of just stuff in there you know about people. Yeah, it's a mixture. I didn't think it was as good as season 1. So, but I've still got a bit of episode 5 to watch. I got about 4 and a bit episodes in. So that's why I've not been able to do like a video on it. And I don't know. I don't know the right way to approach the video. There's a lot of talking points. A lot of talking points. And I did it for season 1, and the video went about an hour. And I just don't know if people have got the appetite for that. I mean, the best thing to do is watch it, isn't it? That's the best thing to do. If you've got Netflix, and I'm sure you have, watch it. It's worth watching. I would say it's worth watching. If nothing else, there's plenty of conversation out there around it. It's worth watching and making your own mind up about it, of course. So, yeah, a cocktail of reaction. Jared said, it proves us right when we say they're clueless, says Jared's. I mean, yeah. I just think that... I'll tell you the vibe that I get, right? The vibe that I get is that they want to do the right thing. I don't think they're in there trying to do the wrong thing, of course, right? They're a billion-dollar business. They want this to be the best thing possible. But I think sometimes it seems like there's a few things going on. One of them is that they are constantly trying to think, okay, that's the obvious thing to do. So, but is it the right thing to do? So Gunther beating Pat is the obvious thing. So what happens if we go the other way, right? And actually, is it better that we go the other way? That's a perfectly fine question to ask. That's fine. I think it's right that you question everything. The concern is that there was people in the room that started to get on board with going the way of having Pat beat Gunther. And actually what Triple H said was, if we do that, he is going to have to go on a tear afterwards. So, again, it was not at the point where it was locked in, but Triple H was entertaining it. It was not shot down. And he said, if that happens, Gunther is going to have to go on a tear afterwards, right? There was one person in the room that went, I don't understand why we're having Pat beat Gunther. Can someone explain to me why? And you can see how they've got where they've got, because they've basically gone, this is obvious. How about we go the other way? Then you've got people adding some credibility to it, like Triple H going, well, if we do that, then. But what has been missed is, okay, you're going that way because it's the least obvious way to go. But thank God there was someone in the room that went, but why would we go that way? Why would we do that? And that's when I think everyone came back to their senses and went, okay. And then, went with Gunther. So we did get to the right result, but seeing that process play out was like, okay. Thank God that person was in the room, because to be honest with you, if that person had not been in the room and had gone along with it, I think that is how you end up with some of the questionable results that you end up with. So that was interesting. The other thing that I thought was quite interesting was I did get the sense, and I suppose it has to be this way, that it matters, but it doesn't matter, in the sense of we want to make sure we're putting on the best product possible. But you know what? Tomorrow there's another show. It never stops. So if that doesn't go quite to plan, it's not the end of the world. Doesn't matter. We'll pick it up. We'll fix it. We'll move forward. I think you do have to have that kind of mentality. I think you do need to have that mindset of, the show never stops. On we go. We'll fix it. We'll sort it. That worked. We'll try it. I think you do have that. The only problem with that is that I think that leaves you a bit more open to things happening that are not ideal. Rather than trying to make the show the absolute best it can be, and there being pressure on each show delivering, it did seem a bit it does feel a bit loose. It does feel like there's a lack of a Vince character. You don't get that vibe that there's anyone back there that's like, this better deliver, this better work. There's not much of that in there. It is all a bit like, and I think that's a little bit of a concern. Those were two sort of observations that I got from it that I thought were interesting. But again, you'll have to watch it yourself. There is so much. I feel like we could do, that we could do 2 hours just on episode 1 alone. We could do another 2 hours on episode 2. We could sit here and do 10 hours of conversation about the 5 episodes. And we would not struggle to do that. So I suppose I need to sort of try and wrap the conversation up a little bit, but yeah, I would say watch it. I think it's interesting. I think part of the problem for me for season 2, I'm going to end on this, is that we focus on Pat for half an episode. We focus on Jelly Roll for probably a bit more than half an episode. So that means that one of the 5 episodes is on celebrity, which I'm just not bothered by, right? As you know. So for me, them kind of talking about how much they love wrestling and all this kind of stuff, showing us training, you are showing me behind the scenes, but you're showing me behind the scenes of something that I really don't care about, I'm not engaged with. And so for me, that can all just get put in the bin, chucked, not interested. What I will say, though, is Jelly Roll comes across like such a lovely guy. He really does. Like, he's very, was that okay, sir? He's very like, you know, God, I hope they accept me. You know, I'm stepping into their worlds. I must admit, I did watch it and I was like, seems like a really nice guy. Doesn't change the fact that I don't want to see him wrestle, right? But I will give him that. He does seem like a real stand-up, really nice guy. I don't know if he's like a Christian man, like a spiritual man. But yeah, I mean, very respectful. Very, very nice. And I think I did give him credit for this at the time, but he did want to lose at SummerSlam, and he goes up to Triple H and says, like, how about, you know, I'm heels up tonight. How about, you know, I'm laying down, I'm taking the pin. And, you know, I mean, listen, people know why I'm frustrated with celebrities. They want to come into this world and they want to put themselves over. That's a big frustration. They want to go toe-to-toe with trained wrestlers and they want to put themselves over. They are selfish. They think of themselves. You know, these are very spoiled, very entitled people that probably don't have too many people telling them no in this world. And so they see wrestling, they think it looks like a laugh, and they want to come into the wrestling world and they want to get as much out of it for themselves as they possibly can. And I must admit, it's very refreshing to see someone, a celebrity, come in and say, how about I take the loss? I gave him credit for that at the time, and they showed it in Unreal, and I'll give him credit for that as well. So Jelly Roll is one of the more acceptable celebrity appearances. But do I need to waste time in Unreal to actually see behind the scenes of him when there is so much that I am more interested in? Pretty much everything else I'm more interested in, you know? No, I would drop that. I would drop the Pat stuff. You know, there's so much other stuff that went down. I mean, maybe we haven't quite got to AJ Lee's return. Perhaps that'll be in season 3. So perhaps you haven't, you know, quite got to that. But one of the parts of the show that I was really into was they showed you behind the scenes of them putting together Rhea from Evolution. And that is one of my favorite matches from last year. So they showed you behind the scenes of putting that together. And that's what I'm looking for. That is one of my favorite. Io comes across like the nicest person in the world. But that is one of my absolute favorite matches from last year. And to actually see them planning out the spots in the crowds, to actually see Michael P.S. Hayes backstage producing the match live. I mean, you get the match at Evolution, and then Unreal is giving you a glimpse behind the scenes during that match. How much would you love to see Gorilla position when we had Hogan and The Rock face-to-face at WrestleMania? How much would you love to see behind the scenes for Andre Hogan at WrestleMania 3? You know, how much would you love to see behind the scenes? Thankfully, we can to a degree for the Montreal Screwjob, right? And you can if you get, I think it's Walking with Shadows documentary, where we're all backstage. So you actually can on that one. But the point remains that I think this is giving you a more well-rounded picture of what was kind of going on at the time that we were watching the match. This was going on behind the scenes. There's nothing ruined. There's nothing there that's, you know, you shouldn't see, in my mind. It's all like Michael P.S. Hayes, just like, yeah, that's how we roll, baby. It's just him just loving, you know, they've got like reactions to different spots back there. You see them setting up the area where they do the dive in the crowd earlier in the day. You see EO saying, how about I go to this platform, but then I go a little higher. And you see them kind of going through that rehearsal. You see the stunt team trying to make the area safe for later as well. Just adds more context. Just adds more to that match. It doesn't ruin the match in any way. It just gives you more perspective. that to me is where Unreal shines. That is where Unreal shines. There's stuff in there that's good, stuff in there that's bad, stuff in there I don't need. 2025 was not the best of years, was it? So we're not dealing with a great year. And we're not really dealing with massive moments either. You know, I mean, there's stuff in there like Naomi winning Money in the Bank, Chelsea busting her nose during the match with Zelina, Io, you know, kind of feuding with Rhea and the Evolution match. But really, the big things are Becky's return at the start, R-Truth losing his job, and the heist of the century. I'd say those are the three things that are the big kind of things in the show. So we're not dealing with like historic, mind-blowing moments. Not like John Cena turning heel like we did in season 1 and the reaction to that. Or Speed coming out getting murked by Bron Breakker and, you know, the backstage reaction to those things. That's not like a big historic moment, but I just sort of feel like it doesn't have the same sort of content to get its teeth into. So, there we go. Keep the Dream said, would we feed Seth and Roman to build Braun for the title? Would I feed Seth and Roman to Braun to get him for the title? No, I wouldn't give him both of those. I might give him Seth. And actually, in Unreal, they do say that Seth is aware of the future. I mean, I think Seth knows that his body is banged up and that he's got more miles behind him than ahead of him. And so I get the impression that, and it could be true, that Seth is looking at Braun, looking at the vision as being a legacy for him, which I think is so disappointing now that he got injured, because I think this was meant to be a real big chapter for him. You could understand, in his mind, the vision is going to be his bloodline. What bloodline did for Roman, vision might do for Seth. So it is self-serving, but also I think he is aware we need to build stars. I think he even says we need Bron Breakker right now. We need him. We've got to build him. There was never a plan B. There was never a plan B or C. It was always Bron Breakker. So, I mean, Seth is very complimentary of Bron. And I think that he would be willing, after seeing what I've seen in Unreal, I think he would be willing to put Bron over on a big stage to get that ball rolling. And, you know, I mean, look, he's always been willing to put people over. He lost to Cody Rhodes 3 times in a row when Cody came back. So I think that, yeah, you could feed Seth to Braun and have Braun go over Seth to win a world title or whatever. I don't think I would be feeding both Seth and Roman at the same time or, you know, in like real quick succession. I feel like they're massive stars. You space them out. I mean, maybe Braun goes over Seth. Maybe he goes over Roman the next year. But, yeah, I'd keep them quite far apart. I think, though, that, yeah, if you want to build up a star, that is what you have to do. You have to feed them big names. You're not going to really build a star by feeding them Akira Tozawa, Carmelo Hayes, The Miz. You know, that gets them to a certain level. But if you want them to really be up amongst the elites, then, yeah, you're going to be judged by your wins against other big names. It's the same in sport, isn't it? You know, like if you're in MMA, you can win against the low card, mid card to get into the rankings, but you're not really making any big moves until you beat those people around you that's a similar ranking. You know, if you're ranked number 5, you got to beat 4 and 3 to climb up. So if you're Bron Breakker, maybe you're ranked number 4 right now. Well, you're going to have to beat 3 and 2 to, you know, go up against, you know, be the guy and go up against the champ and all that sort of stuff. Like, you need some big names on your resume if you want to build him as a star. So you're going to have to feed him those kind of people at some point. I think right now, because of the story with Seth, it would make sense that he goes over Seth. Avenge, damn it, said, one thing I took away from Unreal is the importance of idea versus execution. Flesh that out, but flesh that out. Was there an example? Was there a moment that did that kind of change anything for you? I'd be interested in, hearing your thoughts further into that. Big Time says, Days, TNA's premiere on AMC did 173. It's a lot lower than what I was expecting because debut is peak and then it goes down and AJ was advertised. Yeah, I think we had a conversation, didn't we? I don't remember what I said. Did I say 210? I don't know what I said. I can't remember. I remember saying it would be a fumble in the dark. I did not expect them to do 300. I did not expect them to be up with AEW. But I said, unless we knew what AMC did or, what that time slot was doing before, it was going to be very, very hard. I felt pretty confident that you couldn't take a show that was doing, I don't know, 100,000 or whatever. You can't take a show that's just doing that's got that as a fan base, put it on a bigger network and just all of a sudden triple the number, quadruple the number. Like, I sort of felt like it was going to be a real challenge for them. I cannot remember the number I said, but I distinctly remember saying I don't expect them to do 300,000. 170. It's an increase. I mean, if they were doing 100,000 before, that's a 70% increase. From a percentage point of view, it's going to look real good. That 70%. Everyone would love to improve their ratings by 70%. So I don't know. Doesn't necessarily mean a drastic drop off. I don't know. I mean, I think they've got a fan base that they will drop. But does it go down to 120? 130? How many casual fans tuned in? I mean, it is true. Your debut episode, you get casuals, you get people tuning in that might not tune in. And to be honest, that show was pretty badly received. I wouldn't be shocked if there was people that were like, yeah, nah, this ain't for me. But they do have a core fan base of, I feel like it's around 100,000. They must have picked up some extra viewers. So does it go to 120? Something like that? Don't know. To be honest, not bothered. It's TNA. It's not anything I'm worried about. I wish them all the best. But, yeah, 170-ish. I don't think it's a million miles from what I was expecting. But it was always going to be hard to say because there was too many kind of unknowns for us. I don't know how big AMC is as a network. I don't quite know the number they were achieving before. I don't know what was being achieved in that time slot that they've moved into. So I don't know what the expectations were. I don't know what the buzz has been. They're, sometimes you can hear of like people that really know their stuff going, expecting it to fall, like say Dave Meltzer. He might have come out and said, we're expecting it to be in that 300 to 500,000 range or whatever. I didn't hear any of that. Absolutely no clue whatsoever. So 173. Let's see what it drops to, because I agree it'll drop. How much will it drop? Calvin said, Days, what would we feel if Seth faced Braun at WrestleMania? And at the end of the match, Theory comes down and acts like he's going to help Braun, but then he stomps him and he helps Seth. How would I feel? I would feel okay. I think the theory of Theory being with Seth has been pretty loud. It's been on social media quite a bit. It's been in our community quite a bit. I am not currently thinking that that's what's happening, but it absolutely could go that way. I mean, it's just a reminder when you watch Unreal about just how easy it is for these things to change, actually. It's just a reminder. I mean, actually, it's more than a reminder. All of a sudden, you realize just how easy it is to do because, I mean, they were sat there debating, should we have Pat win? they were sat there going, should we put the belt back on Chelsea? Actually, in my mind, you can't just do that because you've got the creative plan for what comes next. So you can't just go, should we do this? Well, hang on, we've got this planned and that planned and this Raw and that Raw, and that's going to lead to this show and that show. And I'm sure that's still a thing. I'm sure that still happens. But we saw a couple of examples in Unreal where it seemed real easy to just change the plans. And I think in regards to the Seth Theory situation, Theory was meant to be in the Vision, and he was meant to be on that Survivor Series team, and that was reported through Meltzer and whatever. So we knew months in advance that he was going to be joining that team at some point. He's done that now. So it's only at the moment going the way it was always meant to be going. So if he does break away and join up with Seth, then a couple of things have changed. First thing is that I'm guessing he's now babyface. Because I'm guessing Seth will come back and be a babyface as he takes on the evil Bron Breakker. So that would mean that Theory now becomes a face much, much quicker than I think they originally planned. The other thing is that there was never a plan for a breakaway Seth group because Seth's injury was real and that forced him to be kicked out of the group. So we are going down a road we did not plan on going down. This happens, but I there is no evidence that Theory is a plant. You can absolutely go that way. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying that there is nothing but fan theory to support it. And so that's why, for me, we're just going down a road that we were always going down. And there's no evidence of a plant theory. So we could do it. I'd be fine with it. But it's not currently something I'm expecting as a result, right? But yeah, plans can change and we can absolutely go that way. I don't really mind. I think, do you know what I want more than anything? Is I want us to build Theory. That's what I want. And there's going to be a differing of opinion of what the right way to go is. Is the right way, keep him in the group and do the plan that you had planned for him? Or do you take him out the group, put him with Seth, go a different direction? Which one leads to Theory being the star that we hope he's going to be? Do both of them lead there? Maybe. Is one of them better than the other? Don't know. That's what I would be most interested in. Rather than the short term, oh my God, he was working with Seth all along, right? Which I'm not bothered by. I'm more interested in the long term of which one is going to build Theory. Which one gets Theory? Because that's a much bigger deal. That is a much bigger deal. Because, I mean, you could create a main event star. You could create someone that is going to be a big star that, you know, it clicks. And so for me, that is so much more important than just doing a swerve for the sake of a swerve. So I'm more focused long term. So, but that doesn't mean that putting him with Seth is not the right way forward. It might be the right way forwards. That would be one that I think you'd have to sit down in a room and talk about the pros and the cons of going both ways. If you keep him in the Vision, what does the future look like? If you put him with Seth, what does the future look like? What does a Theory Seth 2026 look like? Are they going to go after tag titles? Like, what's this? Where do you go? There is a lot of that actually in wrestling, which is too short term. You got to think like bigger picture. So you put him with Seth, where does that go? And this is the exact same conversation that they're having in the creative room. Blooming Road Dogg saying, should we put the belt on Chelsea? And Triple H goes, okay, but who's she going to feud with? And it's funny, isn't it? The same problem exists in WWE creative, where it's like short term, not long term. And I think, like, yeah, you can do the swerve, but What's the long-term vision? That's where I would be with it. I remember when Russo said he didn't say bro a lot, says King Yeti. Days. Oh, we read that one. Big Time said WrestleNomics data reported that NXT gained 80 to 120,000 older viewers when it went to CW. The demo dropped 60,000, leaving USA an additional 50,000 with big data, and it averages out at 600,000. Okay, so they went to CW. They gained 80 to 120,000. 60,000. I don't think I follow, to be honest. I don't know. I don't think I follow. All I know is that NXT is in a pretty decent place, to be honest. 600,000 range is great. So, yeah, great. Great that they're still in that with that big data decline and everything as well. So, however the numbers have shook out, it's above my pay grade. I just think where they are right now is they are consistently ahead of Dynamite. And I remember going back about 5 years ago, they were consistently behind Dynamite. Avenged Dammit said an example of an idea and execution would be the Chelsea Green Zelina thing. It was a great idea, but the execution was poor, leading to a lackluster title reign. Okay. Avenged Dammit, shout out to you. Word Life Cena said, Days, should WWE have brought Theory back as a face? Therefore, he could have had a feud with Grayson. Should they bring him back as a face and then he could have a feud with Grayson? They could have done that, and he could have feuded with Grayson. And then the question would be, where does he go after that? Who does he feud with after that? So, I think that I don't know the plan for the Vision, but I feel like the plan was, because this is the way I would have done it, is you bring him in the Vision, you have him. I mean, look, the way I would have booked Theory, I've said this before, you have him down on his luck, yeah? He's just been abandoned by his tag team partner, right? Maybe they do a match and Grayson wins. And Theory's like just can't find a way forward, right? He was in a tag team that went nowhere. His partner abandoned him. We do a match. His partner beats him. He's down on his luck backstage. Heyman stumbles across him and is like, "What's happening here?" And Theory kind of confides in him, and Heyman's like, "Leave that with me." Next week, you see, or later in the show, whatever, he's talking to the Vision. They're not sold on bringing in Theory, and Theory catches up with Heyman and is like, "You said you'd come back to me. I haven't heard anything." And Heyman's like, "Just give me some time." And he goes back, and eventually, he gets an opportunity to show that he could be of use to the Vision. Put him in a match, gets a win. It's a fluke. It's skin of the teeth. Doesn't really show that anything has changed or improved, but he got the win. And this is the point Heyman makes. He got the win. He got the job done. What do you want the guy to do? You said if he was to win this match, you'd be interested. He won the match. Heyman likes Theory. He'll go to bat for Theory. Braun not sold. Eventually, they agree to meet him. He comes into the group, right? They have a bit of success. Put him in tag teams. He has a bit of success, right? Some reason for optimism. He's still quite innocent. He's Sami Zayn in the bloodline. He's not trying to be full-blown evil. He's still a likable character, but he's just trying to find his feet. And you do the Sami bloodline thing, which is really obvious, but it works. And that's where, nice guy in a bad group, and they make him do stuff he doesn't really want to do. Crowds start getting behind him, keep him in the group for a long time. This is going to give you a 12 months plus of stories. You've got all of that narrative to get your teeth into. And you get to the point where, he can't take it anymore and he turns on them. And then you start working on him against Bronson. him against Braun, and that gives you some programs going forward. I mean, to be honest, you got 2 years worth of booking there. And not only that, you're spitting out hopefully a bigger star. You're spitting out someone that now has a connection with the audience, because if you can make the audience want something and you don't give it to them, chances are they're going to want it more and more and more, right? There might come a point where they're like, forget this, right? I think there is a bit of a balance, but, you know, if they get it, like, into their, like, for example, we didn't use Carrion on TV for ages. Did that mean that people stopped wanting Carrion? No. If you go to SummerSlam, they are chanting, "We want Cross" at Triple H. Because what was a little movement grew because more and more people noticed that this guy that was doing great promos on Raw Recap or network exclusive stuff, social media exclusive stuff, or social media, right? This guy that's very interesting that we would like to see more of, we're not getting him. And actually, there's some people here that want him, and they're not getting him, and I'm not getting him, and I want to see him. And another week's gone by, and where is he? And another week's gone by, and all of a sudden, all that's doing is more people are noticing and joining, and that's what you end up with, flipping the SummerSlam crowd chanting "We want Cross" to Triple H. It's why you can go on posts now and still see people type in "We want Cross." It's why, like, there was this loud... It's why, like, one of his recent videos has got, like, 3 million views or something, right? Now, I don't know what's happened there, but had they have then given you Cross, he would be... I think you've got something to work with, right? Now, granted, he needs to back it up with good matches, and you need to back it up with good creative, and it feels like they just did not have those plans for him. I think it's starting to feel like Alistair and Zelina are a little bit too similar. That's how it's starting to feel to me. We already have plans for what Carrion and Scarlett do with Alistair Black and Zelina Vega. And there's not really enough room to have both. They're going to get in each other's way. They're too similar. And I'm not saying that that's the reason, but it's real coincidental that after he went, we put them two together. And didn't Zelina throw, like, fire in the face of Damien? And hasn't, like, Alistair got that sort of spooky entrance? And isn't Zelina and Alistair's entrance eerily similar to, like, kind of what we get from Carrion and Scarlett, where they're both coming down to the ring together and she's kind of all over him, the same way Scarlett was all over Carrion? I would not be shocked to find that that was the reason why we ended up where we ended up, right? But by having people wanting something and not giving it to them, you just tend to make them want it more. That's kind of human nature. So I sort of think that would be the way I would book Theory, is you want him to be a babyface. Well, I'm not giving it you. I will eventually, and you'll like it more. Just like Cody finishing his story. We could have done it at WrestleMania 39. We didn't. We waited another year. It was more satisfying. It worked. That worked. It did work. Like waiting that extra year. And I think a lot of people would agree with that now and say that it was better that we kind of waited that extra year. So, yeah, I think, look, do you have him as a babyface and in a feud with Grayson Waller? Fine. Yeah, we can do that. But what do we do after that? And how are we getting him over? And how are we getting that connection with the audience? Because there is a little summit there. There have been a few Theory chants. But can we tell a story that is going to grow that? I think it's a harder way to go, to be honest with you. I think it's a more difficult road, because how are you going to grow those chants for Theory? How are we going to make him more popular? What techniques are we going to use What techniques are we going to employ to try and do that? I mean, there are things we can do. You know, we can have him like beaten down, left in a real mess by Grayson Waller, you know, and you know, there's things like that you can do to build up sympathy. You can tell a creative story where, you know, maybe he's interested in, like, you know, a female talent, and there's a bit of backstage flirting, and then it turns out she was using him, and Grayson Waller had kind of put him up, and then, you know, his heart's broken, and that builds up sympathy, and then, you know, that might lead somewhere. So there are things that you could do, but I think it's a harder road, to be honest. So you could do it, you could go either way, but what's the long-term plan? How do you get him over? Because that, to me, again, when it comes to theory, is the big talking point. How are you going to get him over? How are you going to get him connected with the crowd, with the audience? How are you going to get him to the place where we would like him to be? Because he's a great talent. I stand by that. He's got a great look. He's still really young. I think he's still in his 20s. He's been around years and years, but he's still shockingly young. He's had great matches in the past. He had great matches in Evolve. I've seen a few great matches from him in NXT. There was real excitement around him around the year 2020, 2021. And then really, he's had some bad runs. You know, the golden egg stuff with Vince. The promo exchange with John Cena. The Money in the Bank cashing in on a mid-card belt and then losing anyway. I mean, these things have really hurt him. They've really hurt him. I don't know if they've knocked his confidence as well. I mean, he's not someone that seems to have that sort of swagger and confidence of a top star. I feel like there is like been a lot of knockbacks, a lot of false dawns, and I do wonder if that's took their toll. I wonder if someone needs to grab him and go, you do realise you're the future of this business. You do realise you're going to main event WrestleMania like countless times. You're going to be a multiple-time world champion. Like, you need to act like that. You are that, and you need to act like that, right? You need to be grabbing opportunity. You need to be grabbing microphones. You need to be cutting promos in cameras whenever you see them. You need to be pushing yourself, you know, harder than you've ever pushed yourself before. The work that you put into the gym to get the look that you have got, you need to put that same degree of work into your promos. You need to put that same degree of work into your character. You need to put that same degree of work into your matches. Maybe he is. Maybe he isn't. If TNA is there, then I hope with this exposure on NXT, we could create new fans. Or is there, in reality, just WWE fans that are only interested in NXT? Oh, yeah, there's definitely... I'm that. I'm an NXT fan, a WWE fan. Listen, I love wrestling. You have to if you are a WWE fan because it's a part of WWE. It's in the name, right? And I love seeing two people trying to settle their differences in a ring. And, you know, it's an art form, right? You've got all these different moves. You're trying to outmaneuver each other. You're trying to get the better of your opponents. And the way that match is structured, you know, there is structure to it. There are various moves that you can employ. There are things we have never seen before. Different moves like a soul snatcher, which, you know, what a finisher. You know, I got excited the other day about CM Punk doing a kip up. He kind of rolled his legs back so he could, like, launch forward. And as he put his legs back, Balor hooked him and got a pin. And I was like, that is so good. I mean, that to me is just, that is top draw. That is the good stuff. Because that is someone going for a move that we've seen a million times before where they kip up, they get up off the ground, but actually the other person takes advantage of that moment. And, you know, this is like wrestling in its purest form. And it resulted in a pin. It didn't result in the finish, but it'd be a very interesting, very unique finish if that had. So when we say about it being like an art form, I believe it is. I believe it is. I believe that moves are like brush strokes on a canvas, and they help tell the overall picture and the overall story, just like a brushstrokes on a canvas. And so for me, I think that I watch WWE and I enjoy wrestling, and I can appreciate there's great stuff out there in the world, great stuff that goes on in AEW, great stuff that goes on in New Japan, great stuff that goes on in CMLL. I could watch some of that and I could be, into it, but I am satisfied with what I get from WWE. I get great matches. I get characters, star power. I get loads of content, loads of shows to watch, loads to have conversations about. I'm full. I'm satisfied. I don't need anything else. I don't need to bring TNA into my schedule. I don't need to bring AEW into my schedule. I don't need to bring New Japan. I don't need to bring in AAA, right? But, I feel like because I watch WWE and they're kind of part of that world, I feel like it helps to watch that. TNA is part of that world. I'd say the crossover is not as strong. We own AAA. Undertaker helps do book him for that. I feel like the AAA promotion is in the WWE umbrella, whereas we're just sort of working with TNA. Maybe if we purchase TNA and bring that more in, perhaps then I would feel more obliged to watch that show as well. But at the moment, we've still got a partnership. I'm still interested in watching the odd show. I'm sure there's going to be shows in 2026, Bound for Glory or Slammiversary, whatever, where we really go big with NXT stars or whatever it might be. Big crossover. Maybe AJ Styles has one more match. And maybe there could be times where I'm like, yeah, I'll watch this as like a one-off. But actually watching it on a regular basis, my plate's full. And I think a lot of other people's plates are full as well. A lot of other people consume wrestling along with other content. And for them, I'm all right. It's not a negative of TNA. It's just, I need to go out. I want to play a video game. I want to, meet my mates. I want to watch this film. I want wrestling as part of my weekly entertainment. And I get that from WWE. So, yeah, there are definitely people that I think share that same mentality. And so this is a challenge that TNA has got, because I think you are trying to cater to people that want more wrestling. You either need people that don't like WWE, so that they don't watch it, or they do watch WWE and they want more, right? And I think it's hard to have a show that just caters to those markets, because your casual wrestling fan that just wants wrestling probably goes to WWE. It's the big, accessible monster in this space. So, they probably go there. I mean, the kids want Roman, the kids want Seth and whatever. I mean, as I said, I think you either want people that have watched WWE and go, that's rubbish, that's embarrassing, and then they go to TNA instead. But I don't think TNA is that different from WWE. Why would you turn your nose up at WWE but fall in love with TNA? I don't know. There's a lot of ex-WWE stars in TNA. I don't think the point of difference is that vast. I don't know. They have gimmicks and characters, and the match quality is okay. I can't say it's better than WWE. I certainly wouldn't say it's worse. But I can't say that every match in TNA is a banger. Whenever we've done shows, it's some matches are bad, some matches are good, some matches are great. It's a mixed bag, right? So I don't know. I don't know how many people are going. I don't fancy WWE, but I'll watch TNA. I don't know. Perhaps they fall in love with the character, and that's enough. Yeah, I don't know. But for me, I think it's hard. It's just hard. It's hard. I mean, like, if you came out with a cola, it's going to be hard, isn't it? Because if someone wants Coca-Cola, I mean, or cola, they'll go Coca-Cola or they'll go Pepsi. You know, what's going to make them choose yours? I mean, you're going to have to offer something different. If it tastes like Coca-Cola, then it's going to need to be at a cheaper price. If it tastes similar, it's just hard. It's a crowded market. WWE suck a lot of oxygen out the room. So yeah, they're just fighting for whatever they can get. None of that is a criticism of TNA. If anything, I'm trying to paint how hard it is, how difficult of a landscape it is, and they're battling for every viewer they can get their hands on. So, I wish them all the best. TNA is a promotion that I've never engaged with. It's not a promotion that I have like nostalgia for or any sort of emotion towards, but it's a promotion that I have no hatred for. And actually, this partnership I think has been mutually beneficial. I think it's good that we've got it, and I think that it's something that we should look to, keep developing. When you're taking on an enemy like AEW, these strategic partnerships become more important. AEW's partnership with New Japan is significant. Their partnership with CMLL is significant. And actually, I think it's those partnerships that have inspired WWE to work with TNA. TNA's been around since the early 2000s. We never touched them. It's only now, in like the past couple of years, that we've gone, do you want to be friends? Would you like to be friends? Maybe there's a bit in TKO coming on board. I could buy that. But I also think there's a bit in AEW kind of strategically getting partnerships with different promotions, and WWE also wanting to make sure they don't get in partnership with everyone, right? I mean, they're in partnership with, I think the number one promotion in Mexico is CMLL, and they're in partnership with the number one promotion in Japan, right? It would not be great for WWE if that partnership with TNA had remained, because that means that number 2 and number 3 in North America are working together. Number 2 in North America and the number one promotion in Mexico are working together. Number 2 in North America and the number one promotion in Japan are working together. All of that together is not a good recipe for WWE, right? So I think, that kind of forced their hand into this partnership as well. So lots going on. But yes, are there people that just watch WWE? Yes, I'm one of them. Dr. Pepper? Yes. Dr. Pepper. I haven't had one of them in years, Years. Jared, shout out to you, buds. Days. I asked you last week in the opinions, but I'm not sure you got a chance to reply. Really? In the opinions video, I always try to get to everyone's. Can JC do it? I don't know where that was, but did you put it after I recorded? Maybe that happens sometimes. But I always try to get to every opinion. I just work my way down the list from top to bottom. So I don't know what's happened there. But let's get to the question. Can JC do it on her own, on the main roster, or bring Fatal Influence up so she's got support? Well, I think it's harder to do it on your own. I think that JC, the concern I would have for JC is that she was on her own before Fatal Influence. Do you remember she was with Thea Hale? And then she was doing like some bits on her own. So there is a gap, obviously, between Toxic Attraction and Fatal Influence. It's where she's on her own. She's feuding with Gigi Dolan. It's where she ends up doing a little summit with Thea Hale and Chase U. Do you remember when that calendar came out? And there was like this sexy calendar that was not very sexy. And it sold out, though. She was doing that with Thea. And, we were doing that. And then we find our way to Fatal Influence, right? I don't think what she was doing in between Toxic Attraction and Fatal Influence was that great. So if she goes up to the main roster, I think that it's going to be hard for her. She is starting again. There's going to be people that know her, but you're going to have to sort of reintroduce yourself to, introduce yourself to a load of people that don't watch NXT. What I would say, though, is I do think that this run has given her more confidence. I do think she's had a lot more big matches now at pay-per-views. I think she's been part of the process of that a lot more. I think she can use all of that experience now that she can take to the main roster and just have a much better understanding of, I know how to cut a live promo, how to connect with an audience, how to push their buttons. I got more confidence in what to explore, how to explore, what's going to land, what's not going to land. I mean, honestly, there's a lot that goes into wrestling. It can be as easy as you want it to be. It can be as hard as you want it to be. I mean, it's not just learning moves and out you go, right? It can be if you give that person a manager, right? But if you need that person to cut live promos, then you need confidence. You also need to not do what Izzy Dame has been doing, which is just talk and just ignore the audience. You need to put pauses in. You need to acknowledge them. You need to look at them. You can even speak to them. If you are going to speak to them, what are you going to say? Have you anticipated what they might respond with? Have you anticipated how you're going to deal with that? A lot of this comes from experience. I think she's gained a lot of that experience whilst being in Fatal Influence. And so I think if she was to go to the main roster now and be solo, I think she would be in a much better place than when we saw her solo before. So, to answer your question, does she need Fatal Influence? I'm going to say no. I think she can go up on her own. I think it would be harder, and it's not what I would do. But I don't think she needs them because I think she's got, she's got as much experience from developmental as you can get. I mean, she's been there for years. She's been in 2 factions. She's been on her own. She's been the champion. She's been in big matches at PLEs. She's done live mic stuff. She's worked with different styles, different opponents. She's been to different places. She hasn't just been at the PC. I mean, she's done pretty much everything you could look to do other than, I mean, I suppose she was kind of face when she was with Thea Hale as well. I was going to say she had a run as a face, but I think like really pretty much everything you could look to do, she's done. So I think that she is about as prepared as you could hope to have someone. And I also think that when you are in developmental, when you first join, your learning is like that, right? But there comes a time after a few years where you don't learn as much anymore. And there comes a time after a bit more after that where actually your progress and learning is like this. It's still going up, but the gradient has drastically changed. It's not that anymore. It's that now. I don't think leaving people in developmental for like 8 years, 9 years, 10 years makes them a substantially better wrestler than if you get them out after 4 or 5, right? Because I think the learning, it goes like that. Actually, you might end up learning more by going to the main roster and being put in drastically different situations in front of much bigger crowds, working with people that you've never worked with and legends and getting different advice, from Becky and Bailey and, all those kind of people and working SummerSlam and WrestleMania. Your learning goes back to that again, So with JC, I think she's done everything she needs to do in NXT. Get her up to the main roster. She's about as prepared as what you could hope to have someone. There's probably still elements that need to improve, but I like her matches. Her promos are good. I think she's got like a bit of a character that's gonna need a little bit of work if she goes on her own. So yes, I think she could do it. I think she would be fine. She obviously needs the right creative. That would be the concern. But for me personally, call up Fallon, call up JC, move Kiana into that group, and have a Fatal Influence-esque group where JC is in that. And she doesn't necessarily have to be the leader. Kiana can be the leader. And then, it can break apart a bit further down the road. There's no rush. It's not like, oh, we need to get to a world title now. I would have Kiana James as the leader. Maybe she has a falling out with Julia. She reappears with Fallon and JC. Maybe goes into a feud with Julia. Julia could then she'd be a face. You could then get Io. You could get Kairi if Kairi's, split away from Asuka. You could sort of book something out, and find a way forwards. But yeah, for me personally, I'd put her in a group. I just think it's an easier way to transition to the main roster. But I think she would work because I think she's got about as much experience as you would hope to get out of NXT. Big Time. So Jared, thank you. But Big Time said, Days, for me, back in the day, I remember solely being a WWE fan. I became a little disfranchised and I gave TNA a chance. I couldn't get into it. It was hard to invest when TNA constantly leave in droves. I've never really given it a chance is my honest answer. I mean, if ever I've kind of struggled with WWE or there's things going on I just didn't care about, I would still watch the shows or try and watch where I could. But, it just maybe wasn't as big of a focus for me at that period. So, I'd watch and that'd be it. I wouldn't really think about it. I'd just, that was wrestling done for the week and I'd, do other stuff. And then I'd come back to it and, just not that engaged. I think if you are really into it, you kind of think more about it. You maybe buying more merch, maybe having more conversations. You're kind of, I don't know, maybe playing the video game a bit more or whatever it might be. Like if it's cooking, you're really into it. You might be, when are they coming around? Can I get tickets to go to the show? I went in 2008 in London, and I was really into it in that period. But kind of coming out of that, there was a period where it was like not as crazy about it. But it grabs you again, like Daniel Bryan. I never step away. I've never stepped away, but I have. The engagement varies. And I think that's natural. For a show that just is on every week, and we know there's been bad years. We know there's years where it's just... But the thing is, I've been through that so many times that I know that we get out of it. We've never had it take the company down because the company's never been down. It's had moments where we've had bad years, but then what follows that is good. So we've never been in a downward spiral that we've never recovered from because the company's still here. And it's been here since the 60s. So every good period is followed by a bad. And every bad period is followed by a good. Which was one of the things I was saying in 2025 about how I'm optimistic for 2026. Are we going to follow a bad year with another bad year? We could do. Then I'll be optimistic for 2027. But, the fact they moved that European tour, the fact that now we've seen there's changes to the creative teams, the fact that we don't have John Cena's retirement year to rely on, there's definitely green shoots there, reasons to be optimistic. So, yeah, I get where you're coming from. You felt down about the product. You ended up checking out TNA. Makes sense. I didn't do that. If I felt down about the product, it just became sort of less of a focus in that time period. And then knowing that it would get good again. I think nostalgia plays a huge part, man. Huge part. That kind of loyalty to WWE is so strong because this is the company that gave me all of those memories when I was a kid. I don't know what they would have to do for me to abandon them completely. I've never done it. And, that's because I look at this being the company that gave me Andre Hogan, gave me the British Bulldog, gave me Bret, Shawn, Undertaker, The Streak, gave me, all the I mean, I don't know how many countless hours I've spent talking about the Montreal screw job in my life, right? And all of that stuff. So, you know, it gave me all of that. I mean, and as the years go by, it keeps giving me more and more and more, you know? And so, like, we had all the bloodline stuff. When I went through the pandemic, if anyone that I meet in my life asks me, how was the pandemic? What did you do during the pandemic? I mean, it was wrestling, wasn't it? Every day, all the time. It gave me this channel. So, do you know what I mean? Like, blooming hell. It's just, it's given me so much. I just don't, how would I ever be able to completely walk away from it? I don't know. I think it would have to walk away from me. Even then, I'd be like a desperate ex-girlfriend. Like, why are you going? Come back. God, I still love you. I still love you. I'll treat you better. Yeah. Yeah. I totally get, though, why you would check out TNA. I just never did personally. Uncle Revel said, I remember when I was young, Superstars on a Saturday, and it had like Doink and Bam Bam. My younger brother spoiled the result, so I tore his Nirvana poster. He chased me with a knife. Oh my God. But we are BFFs now. Do you know, when I was young, I didn't really know much about music, like when I was at secondary school. And I remember that, like, when I started at secondary school, which I think you lot call high school, right? I remember seeing this massive graffiti on the side of the sports hall. And it was like Kurt Cobain. And it was the years that he was born and died. And, like, I remember this being a big thing. And there was, like, a big assembly about who had done it. And how graffiti is unacceptable and all this kind of stuff. And I had no idea who he was. And I remember years later discovering Nirvana, right? I didn't discover them, but I meant they came into my life. And then I finally found out who Kurt Cobain was. And I remember going, oh, the graffiti. Yeah, okay. So that's how late I was getting into Nirvana. Kurt was long gone. And yeah, there'd been a whole graffiti thing on this. Isn't that weird? I mean, it just shows, doesn't it, the power of celebrity. Kurt Cobain, you know, one of the great musicians of all time, passes away. And I don't know, like, time-wise, how far removed it was. But, you know, that prompted someone in Stourbridge, a town in the middle of England, right, to graffiti his name. And the year he was born, the year on the side of a sports hall in graffiti. Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird that that's a thing that happens? But it just shows, doesn't it? It's like if I was to die, I'm sure somewhere in middle America, someone would spray paint my name on the side of a sports. So it's just weird. But yeah, I found I was late discovering Nirvana. Great, love them now. Great bands, but that's a wild story that you just shared about being chased around with a knife and your brother and everything. I was wrong. I just can't live without you. I can't live if living is without you. Surely Oasis literally took over the world last year. Says Oasis. Massive bands, yeah. I was always under the impression they never broke America. That was always said here in the UK, was that they just couldn't quite break America. And then I remember speaking to Tommy Toy Travels on Wrestling Escape Pod, and he was like, dude, they're massive over here. And I was like, are they? I was always under the impression that, you know, they'd given it a go and people would know of them, but, like, didn't know they were a big thing. So, yeah, that was kind of a bit eye-opening for me. I mean, honestly, over here in the 90s, they were gods. I mean, if you went into, in the late 90s, I was going into pubs and they would have jukebox on the wall, right? I bet they don't have this. Oh, maybe they do. I don't know. But you would go in. I haven't seen a jukebox in years. But you would go into a pub and they'd have a jukebox. It was normally a box on the wall and it had like these like info cards and you'd press the arrow and it would turn the info card, and it would have the album cover and a number, and you'd put your money in, and you'd select the number, and select the track from that album, and it would play that track from that album, basically, for, I don't know, 50p, right? And then it would play it in the pub. And I remember going in, and, like, if you was really into music, you'd be like, oh, I'm just going to put a few tunes on, right? So you go to the jukebox, and you put a few tunes on. It was never one of those kind of jive 1950s jukeboxes. It was a box that was on the wall, and it had these kind of cards that you could flick through. And honestly, if ever you walked into a pub, there was probably a 99% chance you were going to hear an Oasis song. Some off What's the Story, More in Glory, some off Definitely Maybe. I mean, it was just, everyone gravitated to it. It was pub culture, wasn't it, as well? It was lads, it was beer, it was drinking, it was, do you know what I mean? It was that kind of, it was Britpop. It was such a great time. And there was other great bands around as well, like Ocean Colour Scene, amazing band. Mosley Shoals' brilliant album. The Verve in 97, Urban Hymns, Lucky Man, Bittersweet Symphony, you'd hear them in pubs as well. Pulp, Cast, Manic Street Preachers, Suede. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. There was this whole movement around that time. Blur, of course. Song 2, Part Life, This Charming Man, all that kind of stuff. Massive movement in this country around that time. It had its own name. It was called Britpop. And it had a real period from like 94 to 97. And but of course you could still hear those songs played in pubs going all the way through to the early 2000s, and such an amazing time. I got such fond memories of all of that. So yeah, this is why when Oasis came back last year, it was such a massive thing. I mean, they could have sold out even more shows if they'd done them in the UK, but I mean, they did like so many shows in the UK, and it was the flipping hottest ticket in town. And I don't know what they're doing this year. There was talk of them doing some more shows this year, but they did go to America, didn't they? They did some shows in America. They did some shows in Argentina, and I don't know that they're obviously as big in those countries. I don't know. It's hard for me to know, isn't it? But all I can tell you is that they were it in the 90s in the UK. Jared said 1990, but you weren't born till 2005, and you're 21. Yeah, I'm 21, buds. I'm 21. I wasn't going to pubs in 1990. I think you've misheard. I wasn't going to pubs in 1990, but I am 21. That is correct, Jared. Well remembered. Days, looking at the creative room, I saw about 4 guys in the back not even having a say. Some looked like they were nearly falling asleep and also on a phone. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what, like, I'm guessing those people are part of the creative teams for Raw and SmackDown. They're probably like lower down the food chain. So the people that are the more senior are obviously closer towards Triple H. So those people in the back, I'm sure they've got things to contribute, but I would imagine those people have probably fed ideas and stuff to Road Dogg, Ed Kowalski. Is that his name, Ed Kowalski? Fed them into those guys before they've gone into the room. I'd imagine they are there to kind of potentially chip in if at any point it's open to everyone. Any thoughts, kind of a thing. And so, you know, they're probably there for that purpose. But I would imagine, you know, your head writers of Raw and SmackDown are like right here, which would make sense, wouldn't it? So I wasn't too worried about that aspect. What worried me more is just that room. It's so flat. It just doesn't seem to have much life. It doesn't seem to have much energy. I really am not convinced that is the creme de la creme of writers, of creative. For me, like, it's not like a hotbed of, you know, you weren't seeing all these ideas bouncing around. It felt very lifeless. It felt very flat. It always feels that way every time we get a glimpse. But then I have to sort of remind myself, this is an edited show where they might have been in that room all day for 10, 12 hours. We might be seeing what it's like come hour 10. after they've done all of that. You know, I'd imagine when they first come in, it's like, right, let's go. And it might be good for the first few hours. It might be what we want. You know, that kind of energy, ideas bounce around. How about this? How about that? Well, where does that lead? Yeah, we thought about that. We've got this here. Blah, 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 blah. You know, by the time we're seeing a clip, it might be, can we go home now? But then, is that true? I don't know. Or is it a case that that's just what it's always like? The clips that I see from the creative room are concerning. And I would hope that if Triple H watched them back, he would be concerned as well. But, you know, that is what it is. He will have a much better understanding as to at what point these conversations occurred. And if he's happy. I mean, at the end of the day, he's the one that's got to be happy with the setup of that room. It's his decision. He should walk into that room and he should feel inspired. I mean, if I was Triple H, I would want to walk into that room and I would want ideas bouncing everywhere. I would want people throwing stuff at me, curveballs, swerves, you know, and being able to back it up. And I would want us to be able to find a way forward with, because the more exciting ideas there are in that room, the more you filter out the bad stuff. You know, what you're left with is just the best of the best on a page that you can't wait to film. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is going to be so good. People are going to love this. I would want to leave that room so excited by the Raws that are coming up and the PLE that's coming up. I'd want to be like, this is so good. But maybe that's pie in the sky. Perhaps that's just wishful thinking. Perhaps in the real world, it just does not work that way. That is how I would want the room set up, though. Vibrant, exciting, loads of ideas. You know, it's a bit like putting an album together. What tracks are we going to leave off? We can only have 10, but we've got 35 amazing songs here. So what are we not doing? What are we leaving off? And that's the situation I would want to be if I walked into that room. But then when you get a glimpse of it, it's just so flat, innit? It's really flat. It's like someone's blooming got a bottle of Coke, shook it up, opened it, it's all gone everywhere, and now this is what's left. So, yeah. People are looking too much into Unreal. I don't think they're going to share as much as people think, says Sean. Yeah, we do have to say that. It could be that they are just... But I would question, why would you share the flat moments and the bad creative ideas? I mean, is there thinking, let's share this where it looks like at one point we were going to have Pat win because it makes us look good that we didn't do that? Is that the logic? Is the logic it's really good for them to see that we were going to do this because we didn't, and it's good that we didn't? I don't know. I'm not sure what the thought process is because they could have removed that. I'm sure they've got creative control. I'm sure that they've got, you know, they've negotiated that, and it's like, you know, they don't want... I know Netflix are powerful, and I know Netflix are going to, you know, want control themselves. But I'm sure if WWE was like, nah, that's not worth including, or let's use this instead, I'm sure there is a degree of influence there that they can go with. And so, I don't know, why would you put that in? What do you gain from that? I mean, all that's happened is people have gone, blimey hell. Was you really about to do that? That's all that's happened. I mean, maybe there's some casual fans out there that have had a different reaction. I don't know. I don't know. But, I mean, straight away it was on social media like, can you believe this group of clowns were about to do this? After he had just tapped out to Jay at WrestleMania, we were going to follow that up with a loss to Pat at Backlash. So, yeah, tough to know what the motivation was or the thought process. But again, this takes me back to something I said earlier, which is I think they've got this notion that it don't matter. you know, they've been doing it so long and there's been so many bad matches and so many mistakes and we're still here and we're still making money and we're still moving forward, that does it matter? Does any of it matter? We have these conversations and we debate these things, but does it matter? Do you know what I mean? Like, there's going to be a WrestleMania. It's going to have matches. It's going to be well received or not well received. But do you know what happens after that? Raw. And then SmackDown. And then the next Raw. And then the next SmackDown. And we work to Backlash. And then that's going to be well received or not well received. And then, you know, we work our way to, I don't know, flipping King and Queen of the Ring or whatever. And Money in the Bank's going to be around. And do you know what I mean? It just keeps moving on. So, part of me is like, I don't know, do you run the risk of falling into what they've fallen into, which is this sort of, does any of it matter? I think they know that they've got to deliver moments and they want to deliver the best shows possible. But I really did get that vibe. That vibe did come across to me of like, we just move on. If there's a mistake, if we make the wrong call, we'll fix it. We're constantly trying to put on the best thing possible, the best show possible. And if this goes wrong and the reaction is bad, we'll change course. We're not going to dwell on it. We're not going to, like, you know, cry about it or fret about it. I mean, there's no benefit to doing that. We're always going to do the best thing that we think is at the time. And we're always going to look to do that. And I'm not against that. I mean, that's the right approach, isn't it? But is there a lack of accountability if you consistently get it wrong? Is there accountability there? Like, if that is the mindset, then at what point is someone losing their job? Or are we just like, it's always tomorrow? Maybe others didn't get that vibe. I got that vibe watching, you know, kind of Unreal. And these are the sort of things that, you know, you can sort of pick up on by watching the show. If you haven't seen it, I would recommend it. It's obviously going to be best that you make your own mind up and watch the show rather than just relying on the commentary that you get from me, from this community, from other places, other content creators. There's no substitution for you watching and making your own mind. But those were the things that, you know, some of the things that I took away from it. But I still need to watch the end of it. I still need to watch the rest of episode 5. I'm going to do that and try and get something out about it. 'Cause it does feel like there needs to be a place where we gather all of this together. I mean, it's such a big thing to drop. I mean, it's nearly 5 hours worth of content. And there's a lot of stuff in there. So if it feels like we've had a lot of Unreal conversation, that's the reason why. I mean, we could do 2 hours on each episode. There's that much to talk about. And we haven't really dug into specifics too much, to be honest. I mean, we haven't really scratched the surface. I mean, there's Becky return, Becky turning heel, Becky going up to Triple H saying, listen, you can tell me to F off, but how about we do this instead? Because she didn't want to take Bayley's WrestleMania moment away from her. She didn't feel good about that. And then you remember that she turns heel and we get Becky Hogan chants. She starts wearing yellow to lean into that. Ultimately, we get to where we've got to now, which feels like a bit of a Donald Trump-inspired kind of character. We kind of scratch and dig into some of those things. So, I mean, we haven't really got into those conversations, but we're not going to either because it is time for NXT. Right. Days and everyone in the chat, it's almost NXT time. And if Ethan Page loses the North American title to the Flower tonight, I am gonna, but probably not riot, says Sean. Sean, shout out to you. Okay, we're just looking at last week when it was announced that we're going to do a ladder match for the NXT Championship. One thing we have not been doing on the stream is really talking about NXT. My bad. My bad. I R-truthed it. Steve said they didn't have a big long-term plan for 2025. They leaned on Cena being there, and they botched that for most of the year. Roman is part-time now, which means he has less and less appearances. Cadet said, Days, during the Attitude Era, was you a bigger fan of Stone Cold or The Rock? That's a great question. I was into both. I found them both to be entertaining. I think I was probably more into The Rock because of the charisma. But I was obviously a fan of both. That was a weird time for me, to be honest, because that was a time where I was going through a lot of change in my life. That period was a period where I was kind of out of the young, what am I watching? This is amazing. You know, by the time we get to the Attitude Era, I know it's predetermined. I know that I'm not really seeing loads of behind the scenes stuff, but I might have seen Wrestling with Shadows by that point. So, you know, by the time we get into the Attitude Era, I know what's going on. And I'm kind of going through a period where I'm leaving education. I'm starting to go to work. You know, I'm out with friends in pubs and all that kind of stuff. So I'm watching the shows and consuming the shows. But I think my relationship to the Attitude Era is probably different to a lot of other people's. There's a lot of people that got into wrestling during the Attitude Era that just, oh my God, couldn't get enough. For me, I was watching it. I was engaged with it, you know. I did not step away from it. But it's not a period that kind of dominates my life the same way as it did in the early 90s. It's a period where I'm watching, I'm enjoying, and it is just part of my life. Okay, we just saw a video package. Ava says, please communicate and be on high alert because there's every chance that Tony is going to be around and he isn't seemingly the same person that we knew before. We got loud NXT chants. So we are underway with NXT. There is the NXT Championship suspended above the ring. Here comes All Ego, Ethan Page. Ego. Right, we're starting with this match that is going to introduce us to a new superstar that we have not seen. I've certainly not seen. Ethan Page versus, how do you spell his name? Elio LeFleur. There we go. Booker T says they call him the Can Man because anyone can get it. Okay, here we go. First time seeing this guy. I still don't quite know how you pronounce the name, actually. Eiffel Tower in the background. He's borrowed one of Seth's jackets. Elio LeFleur. Okay. I don't mind the music. quite grand sounding. Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. I mean, like, the music is very... What are they chanting? Oh, NXT. Yeah, the music is really big, really grand. I think I'd like his mannerisms to be that way as well and to hold it, you know? He did get in and he did do a little thing there, but I think then there needs to be work on that entrance. Elio LeFleur is how you pronounce the name. First time seeing him. And let's go. I mean, clearly they think a lot of him to put him in this situation. So very excited for this one. Let's see what he can do. Elio LeFleur. LeFleur? It's like Riddle put a mask on, said GS Dub. I could see that, actually. The body type is quite Riddle-esque. Shoulder barge there by Ethan. Side headlock. Not keen on the ring gear. It's a horrible looking color. It's like off-white in it. Shoulder barge there by Ethan. Kip up by Elio LeFleur. Nice headlock takeover there. But Ethan keeping him grounded. Yeah. Pat on the heads. Pat on the heads. Little bit of disrespect being shown here by Elio. Smile on his face. Ethan charging over against the ropes, picking up speeds. Leapfrog. Elio, lovely. Lovely. Leg. Oh, my God. Yeah. Went for a leg sweep and then immediately came back with a kick after the leg sweep didn't work. Over in the corner to the outsides. Elio over the top. Lovely. To the outsides. Elio looking to go over the ring steps. Head scissor takeover. Well, I mean, there's been some lovely little moments here. I wouldn't show the full boxer tricks in this first match. Just give him a taste. Just a taste. And there's just a little bit of stuff there that looks good. NXT chance breaking out. He goes up on that top rope. He's very fluid, as you would imagine him to be. Ethan Page just shutting this down. Dropping Elio on his back. Big boot. Elio goes to the outsides. Elio LeFleur. NXT is trash now, says Brony. Okay, we go to the outside. Elio is down. And back into the edge of the ring. Gets driven back there by Ethan. So we will have some people going to commercial. We're obviously staying with it at the moment. William said, I wonder if I challenged any NXT talent, if they'd give me some peanut butter BJs. Who do we think would step up? I'm thinking Oba is going to walk out with his entrance. And he'll go tribal on my dong. It's a great question. I don't know that I feel comfortable speculating as to who would give you a peanut butter blowjob. I feel confident in saying that... I feel confident in saying that Tony Khan probably wouldn't turn it down. But that's not NXT related, so... One count. Nightness said if they take the belt off Ego, they had better give him the main belt or send him to the main roster. This would be wild for him to come in on his first night and get a championship. We've seen such things before. But, I don't know, man. The ring gear to me is just... It's not exciting enough. It's not dynamic enough. It looks just a bit old. Well worn. I mean, that could be true. Knee coming in. If you think about, like, mentally picture him in something more colourful, more vibrant. Like, in my mind, that's way more exciting than what the flip is wearing right now. This is, like, not great. But, I mean, this is his debut. I feel like it's his debut in developmental. We've got a lot of work to do here. But they clearly like him. And I do like his little leaves that he's got on his knee pads and on the side of his ring gear. I wonder if we could have gear that's just covered in those. Make those a brighter, more vibrant color rather than like silver and golds. And I wonder, it might look a little bit like a wrestling Big Bird, though. That's the only problem. That would be the only problem. Right now, getting up to his feet. We're coming back from commercial break. Brody said NXT is going through a rebuild phase. They're trying to develop some big stars since 3 are now on the main roster. It makes me uninterested currently, says Brony. That's fine. I don't think that's an unfair comment. Kick out there by Elio. We are back, said Edwards. Full screen. Ethan down on his knees. Okay, we're backstage with Fatal Influence. Trying to pick it up, looking for a pile driver. Ethan looking for a big back body drop. Boom. Okay, so we are back, and this will be where Elio starts coming back into things. Forearm shot coming in, and again, duck underneath, against the ropes, crossbody, springboard crossbody there by Elio. Nice, Inseguri. Ethan down, looking for a suit. Oh, twisted net breaker. Gets it. 1, 2. Shoulder up. Shoulder up by Ethan Page. Okay, Elio is up. Oh, went for a splash, but a big boot. Big boot. 1, 2. I wouldn't have hated that being the finish, you know. I wouldn't have hated Ethan delivering that big boot and putting him down. He works at such a good pace. He's got such a good moveset. It's a really good match. And then you add in the fact it's his debut. I mean, of course, this is a great opportunity for him to shine and show what he's capable of, but yeah, he's got some real skills. You can see why he bypassed Evolve. Ethan says, stay down. Elio grabs the leg. Shot coming in by Elio. Ah, Suplex. Lovely. Elio, middle row. Ah, that's great by Ethan. That is great. Drop kick midair. I'm expecting Ethan to get the win, but they're doing a great job of making Elio look the part. Ethan's having all kinds of trouble in this match. He cannot put this guy away at the moment. Moonsault to the outside, lands it. Ethan goes down. Elio grabbing Ethan, chucking him in the ring. Elio going up, springboard him. Whoa, knee to the side of the heads. Ethan down, 2. That felt like a little moment there. Didn't think he would get the 3, but he was late getting that shoulder up, wasn't he? 2.99 as we do a coast to coast. 1, 2. Ah. Do you know, I'm expecting Ethan to retain, but Elio is throwing everything at Ethan right now. And he is showing that he very much belongs in NXT. Knees up. 1, 2. Kick out by Elio. Crowd are red hot for this as well. They're really invested. We've had load of close pinfalls. Ego's edge, Razor's edge. Reversed! Reversed! There's an opening! Elio connects! Mate, this could be it. This could be it. If he can land this one. Oh, no, he gets caught. Slam down. 1, 2, and he's got the tights. Damn. It felt like he was a connection away. He connects with him in the corner. He gets him over in the other corner. If that had landed, I would have felt very confident that we were going towards a finish for Elio, but he gets caught. He gets power bombed. And then he grabs a handful of tights. But look at some... Mate, that drop kick midair was sick. That was sick. Look at that. Boom! I mean, lovely pace. Great conditioning. The kind of moveset that you would expect, but so captivating. I think putting it on first as well, where the crowd were like red hot, really into it. He's got a real bright future. So does he as well, though. And so does this guy. Here comes Ricky Saints. Yes. Look at us. We're the glue holding this place together, says Ricky. Oh, they're like good mates now, are they? You go back there, champ. Kick your feet up. When did they become great mates? When did that happen? I think even Ethan looked a bit confused. Rep your squad like there's only one squad. Yes. Yes. When my squad is on the scene, there is only one squads. Rep your squad like there's only one squads. What the hell? The new guy has lost his first match, said Jack. Yep. Buried. Buried. It's over. He's done. Send him back to the Indies. Send him back to France. Tell him to pack up his baguette. It's time to go home. He has been buried. Always loved that song, said Tribal List. I'm bored of Ricky Saints. Such a bland character, said Hello Ross. The French guy surrendered, said Doug Dilly. Well, I feel like there's many a joke to be made there. They shouldn't have put the new guy in a championship match in his first outing, said Spawny Boy. Millennial said, it's interesting to see how WWE liked Elio. Zaria and Vecchio are two good talents, in my opinion. Mike Vecchio is more ready than Elio, says Millennial. I am bored of Ricky also, but I like the hand on the face thing, said KD Nation. Big Tony said, Days, I am proud to see Paige and Stark shine after learning from the single best wrestling promotion that is AEW. It's very understandable. If someone saw Collision, then Saturday night's main event, it's going to be great. Is Collision? Yeah, it will be, won't it? Are they on at the same time this weekend? Oh, God, that means I've got a choice to make. It's all right, I've made it. But yes, once again, the companies will do battle. Once again, the two companies will go to war. I wish AEW all the very best with trying to keep TNA at bay. I am getting Final Boss vibes with this heel persona, said Jared. From Ricky, not from me. Right, so Elio, LeFleur makes his debut, and I think we were impressed. I can see that so far it is great rating that is winning so far. Would we bring back Ox Baker's Heart Punch finisher to be used, and who would we give it to? Would I bring it back? Am I right in saying it is actually a dangerous move? I mean, you can't like legitimately punch someone in the heart and expect everything's going to be okay. At some point, that might actually cause a problem. So you would have to give it to someone that would be very careful with it, because I think it is actually like pretty seriously dangerous. I don't know if that's like an old wives' tale or anything like that. But yeah, the Ox Baker Heart Punch, where you just smash them in the heart, in the chest, and they go down. And, you know, there was plenty of times where they were concerned for the wrestler. Not legitimately. Maybe legitimately, but there was definitely times where they played into the effects of that move, right? Would I bring it back? Yeah, I wouldn't be against it. I think it's a pretty fun finisher. It's a bit Mortal Kombat, actually. I mean, you're not going as far as to rip the heart out. But do you know what I mean? Like, they're kind of dazed. And it's a bit like, finish him. And it could be like, you know, one of those moves that like, no, man, don't do it. Don't do it. And there's like big conversations about should it be banned and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, I reckon you could do some stuff with that. Who would you give it to? Someone big, like an Oba Femi. Someone that's got... I don't think Femi needs it, though. You'd want to give it to someone that's got a bit of size to them. I wonder if it would work for a Bron Breakker. Because he's got muscle, he's got a bit of size. But he's not Oba. Maybe a Bronson Reed. We're trying to lean into something between Booker and Keanu Carver, are we? I wondered why Booker looked a bit miffed. So we're digging into a history between these two. All right, there's some issue, is there, between Booker? I don't know, man. I haven't watched LFG. Oh, look at that. We saw the cameraman, the editor. Hi, Mark. I should be studying right now. I came here to see Fly. Flea fly. What the hell's flea fly? I came here to see flea fly. I'm guessing he means like LeFleur. That guy. Is that what we call him? Flea? That guy should be studying, but he came to see flea fly. I think if you say that out loud as a sentence, you might really question your life choices. I should be studying right now, getting ready for my exam, but actually I'm here to see flea fly. You'd be like, do you reckon you made the right decision? Or maybe you should be investing in yourself. Here's Shiloh. Cena wanted to use the heart punch during his heel run, but he was told no because it is banned for a reason. Yeah, I mean, I have always wondered about the legitimacy of like it as a move and like what it actually does. Because I mean, you pull your punches, don't you? I know, like you're not really punching him as hard as you can in the heart. I mean, you know, spoiler. Wrestling is, you know, predetermined. You're meant to make it look like you're hurting your opponent when you're not, but I suppose that one, if it goes wrong, you know, is it? But then saying that, there's loads of moves. If they go wrong, they're going to have big repercussions. So I don't know. I don't really get why we don't do it. Josh Briggs would be quite good with the heart punch. Wouldn't it? That would give him like a little, because you would make it a move that everyone would be like, you can't do that, you know, and you'd really sell the effects of it, and there'd be you'd do it where there's a real conversation backstage on screen with Adam Pearce, Ava, all of those trying to figure out like should this move be banned, like. And I would turn that into a big like story around the move. So it wouldn't just be a move I'd give someone and they just do it and that's it. I'd make a big thing about it and about how dangerous it is. And yeah, Josh Briggs would not be bad with it. Feels, actually, I don't know why, but it feels quite a heelish move. Feel like you need to be a heel like Bronson Reed or Josh Briggs. It's not a babyface thing to do, is it? Punch someone in the heart. The Heartbreaker. Okay, Shiloh chants. Let's get Shiloh. Tommy Toy Travels said, poor days, give Soul a shout out. Is that your Spanish teacher that you've said you can get shout outs for on various other YouTube channels, and this is your way of flexing? Is it that? No worries. Soul, shout out to you. I hope you're well. I am so sorry that you have to deal with Tommy and his ADHD and all the flipping musicals conversation I'd imagine you have to deal with. I just want you to know you're not alone. So, I just want you to know you're not alone. Oh, we are actually starting a therapy group. Days Soul hates my girlfriend. Give her a shout out. I've been happy to do it. I've done it. I did it. I shouted out Soul. Soul Ruca. We need Soul chants. William said, Days, you are so gracious. What can I say? I'm a giver. I'm a giver. Yeah, she's there. Isn't that your Spanish teacher? Am I misremembering? Silo to the outsides. Shiloh, let's go. Shiloh chants as he gets chucked through the ring over the other side. He cannonballs into Briggs. There's a lot of excitement around Shiloh. He is so over with the people in the crowd. They flipping love him, don't they? Clothesline. I think the whole like tooth coming out thing has worked for him, and those video packages have worked. I tell you what, though, he's got his work cut out getting past Briggs. I'm not sure he's going to. Briggs, you suck, Chant says K-Dub. Millennial said, Days, why don't wrestlers use firearms in no DQ matches? For example, if a jobber is challenging for a belt in a no DQ, you might as well use an AK-47. Well, I think honestly it's the law, isn't it, that gets in the way. I think if you was to use a firearm and shoot someone, I mean, the law of America still applies, whereby you could get done for manslaughter or murder. So, in a no DQ match where you've kind of agreed that there's not going to be that you're not going to get disqualified in the match, that's one thing. So, you know, you can use weapons and beat each other down. You kind of covered on that front. I mean, I think we learned long ago no one's getting done for assault in the World Wrestling Entertainment and Federation, yeah? That's not happening. But I do think if you used to grab a firearm and try and kill your opponent, that you probably would get, you would face charges of manslaughter, attempted murder, you know, those kinds of things. So I think there is a line, and I think that's a line that can't be crossed. Days is a giver and under is a taker. Ah, King Yeti. Under is a taker, you're right. I'm the opposite to Undertaker. I'm Days Giver. I'm the Days Giver, and he's the Undertaker. Oh, my God, so good. King Yeti, take a bow. Take a bow, King Yeti. Right, I believe we are at commercial break at the moment. Eric said it's Brian Pillman all over again. Very true. Hello, Ross said they need to get Briggs better skull on his jacket when he comes out. It's so obvious it's a Halloween prop. Or just get rid of it. Shiloh is down at the moment. Jared said, what do you mean? You mean I've been watching a scripted product where the winners are already revealed? Well, they're not revealed. They are known. I don't know what's happening here now. I mean, we've got a bit of a headlock on, and it looks rubbish as well. The crowd are booing. We're at commercial break. It feels like we've just given up on the match. But I'm sure it's going to heat back up once we're back from commercial. WWE could fake police arresting wrestlers, even make it a gimmick. We've done that a few times. Do you remember the one that comes to mind for me is Ronda and Charlotte and Becky in the build to WrestleMania 35, where they had that big brawl. The police come down. They all get arrested. Then they're in the back of the cars. You've got cars smashing into each other, windscreens getting broken. We've had police a few times. It's a grey area, though, isn't it? Because you can find many examples where laws have been broken. And so you would imagine, like, you know, the police should be getting involved. But they never do. I mean, it does kind of operate in a slightly outside of the law. But you ain't getting away with firearms. I mean, I think if someone was to bring a firearm into a no DQ match, there'd be a lot of people that would be like, nah, man, that's too far. Like, no DQ means you can use weapons, kendo sticks, stuff like that. The stuff that we've seen year after year after year. And I'm all down for innovation, but do you know what I mean? Bringing down a flipping sword. An AK-47. A bazooka. Maybe a t-shirt bazooka. That'd be okay. I can't imagine you'd kill someone with that, but if you did, what a story. It's how I want to go. I want to go with someone firing a t-shirt bazooka at me, Just so, like, you know, they'll be like, how did he die? It's like, wow, you'll never guess. It's T-shirt bazooka. Yeah. Double barrel. Duck underneath there by Shiloh. Collides into Josh Briggs. Josh Briggs goes down. He's over in the corner. Shiloh up to the outside. Bang. Big shot coming in there by Shiloh. He's climbing up. Big clothesline by Shiloh. This thing has gone back on the boil, you'll be pleased to know. Oh, yeah! He's the Kool-Aid man. Oh, yeah! Oh, yeah! 2. Shoulder up. Shoulder up by Josh Briggs. Okay, Shiloh battling away. Oof, elbow coming in. And again. Over the other side. Big boot there by Shiloh. Duck underneath. Oh, big boots. Oh, the tooth came out again. I don't even think it was meant to this time. I am surprised at how long they're having this match go. 1, 2, kick out. Blimey hell. We're still going. We're still going. EO is trending. She came across so well. Oh, yeah, there is footage of her swearing. That was a really funny moment, actually. She jumped on him afterwards. And she jumped on him afterwards. Oh, nice throw there by Shiloh. After their match, and she was like, oh, I'm so happy. You've always believed in me. And he was like, I will always believe in you. There were some really great touching moments in Unreal. I know we focused on maybe some of the frustrations and we didn't focus enough on the good stuff, but there was some good stuff in there as well. And you can basically sum it up with the name EO Sky. There was some really good stuff in Unreal. It was called EO Sky. 1, 2, 3. Whoa! He did get it. Shiloh gets it. Josh Briggs is not going to be competing for the NXT Championship. Wow. That's a big win for him. That is a really big win. Oh, here's Tony. Here's Tony. Look at that. Tony picking up Briggs. Takes out Shiloh. He hasn't spoken yet. I want to know why he hasn't spoken. I really do wonder if he's going to move away from that Italian accent. He's looking over at Ricky. Ricky was up on his feet. Well, there we go. Okay, here's Zaria and Ruca. Let's get thoughts on that last match. I am shocked by the result of that. I did not see that coming. All right, apparently there's been some drama between these two again. Yes, I'm still sore. Let's put Saturday behind us. I didn't know there was issues on Saturday. Oh my God, just split them up. Stop dragging it out. I'm really bored. It's time to do something different. Here is Hondos. Hondos. I could be their new Zeta Steel. Grow my hair out. Flick it around. Here's Vanity Projects. That's a low-key banger, actually. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, opening match, great, 59. That's a little bit like one of them flowers from the 90s where music plays and it just bops along. Do you remember them? Probably don't. These guys are money, said K-Dub. What happened to Bryce Donovan, a.k.a. Timu Drew? Bryce Donovan was in this group, wasn't he? But he ended up getting cut, I believe. So I don't think he's with the company anymore. Vanity Project's theme reminds me of Caden and Katana. I love that theme, though. I always liked their kind of dancey vibe. Yeah, I agree. You could see Caden and Katana coming out with this. Vanity Project is so awful. What are we doing, NXT? Says Jack. It's time to switch this week off, says Uncle Revel. Oh, Hondos. Hondos. Free Soul Ruca. She needs to get called up to the main roster, said Word Live Cena fam. These guys look like jobbers. They're way too small, says Wyatt6661. They can go, man. They're a good team. I'm ride or die for Swipe Right. They've had some good matches in the past. They're a good tag team. They're going to be a good addition to the tag team division. Where, to be honest, you haven't got to be the biggest. Fraxium weren't the biggest. DIY weren't the biggest. You don't really, it's not really the land of giants, is it? The tag division. Used to be. When we had the natural disasters. Vanity Project in the ring are effing fantastic, and they're younger than Ma, said Alex. They're younger than Ma? What, your mother? Hey, Ma! How old are you? 28. Whoa. These boys are younger than you. To be honest, they should be younger than your Ma on reflection. It would be concerning if your Ma was younger than them. Because aren't they like 20? What? How would that even work? I mean, maybe she had you when she was like 13, 14. It happens. That would mean like if you was like 7 now, perhaps it would work. I don't know. I can't get my head around it. David says, okay. JJ in Shadow. Appreciate it, my friends. Firing in a membership, and Freddy 999.9. Not quite 1,000% Freddy, just 999.9 Freddy. Snap that right up. Ricky Smokes is 22, but Brad Baylor's only 20. Oh my god. Yeah, it's going to be real hard for Ma to be younger. If she's 19, I mean, maybe she had a kid when she was 14, but then that would mean that Alex was 5. Should he be on YouTube at that age? Maybe YouTube Kids. He certainly shouldn't be on this channel. I think we've done well exploring that topic. Days, you are now my favourite. Stanton, shout out to you, my friend. Thank you. I don't know why. I think you're misguided, but I appreciate it. But Alex said, my mama had me at 28. Yeah. I mean, the math don't math, does it? She definitely needs to be older than Vanity Project. Kristen says, no, 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 no. No alcohol. I had no idea where that was going. No. I thought it was a review of the conversation, and I was like, I can understand that. I didn't expect the word alcohol to be dropped in. Hondos! Here we go. What do you think of this music? But I like it. Okay, here comes Chase U. So, swipe right against Chase U. This has been a good week so far, actually. I mean, that opening match was a banger. That second match had a shock result and was not a bad match. Probably went on a whisper too long. But we got a shock result, so not down on it. Now we get to see Swipe Right, who I really like. Chase U. It's not really working. It's not grabbing me the way that the original Chase U did. To be honest, we haven't really invested in these guys the same, have we? We're not getting regular classes. And I think Thea Hale not being with them is a loss as well. She was such a fun cheerleader. We need a new cheerleader, don't we? We need a new cheerleader. Okay. Booker says he doesn't want to get hurt. Feels like we're definitely doing something with Booker and Keanu Carver. I really like that, actually, because it's a very interesting story. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm thinking Booker's going to get murked at some point. Maybe not tonight. Perhaps we tease the drama for a bit and then 1 week on the road to Stand and Deliver. Gets murked. I wonder if he's got one more match in him. I wonder if we do Keanu Carver against Booker T. This is what I'm wondering. These are the things I'm wondering. Tag being made. Brad Baylor coming in. Brad Baylor goes for a shot. Such a throwback. Back elbow coming in there by Brad Baylor. He gestures over to Ricky. Baylor against the ropes. Low kick coming in. Bang. Leg drop to the back of the head. Standing moonsault. Lovely teamwork there by Chase U. Brad Baylor selling. Trying to get out of there. Ricky Smokes coming in. Both members of Swipe Right are over against the ropes. They go to the outsides. Chase U. Dixon. Whoa. Through the ropes. Connors. Yeah, hot start to the match. Into the edge of the ring. Popping up, big boot. Down he goes. Brad Baylor coming over, grabbing him, slamming him down in the ring. We've got Panda Express graphics on the entranceway. Are they sponsoring the whole show or just this match? There is Alexis King. He's backstage with Ariana Grace and Stax. Some sort of union there. Big boot. Swipe right back into it. Ricky Smokes. Kick out. You've got to understand that young guys like this are the future of the business, says Booker. Over the other side, in the corner, charging in. Big forearm shot. Tag being made. In comes Brad Baylor. Big overhand rights coming back by Connors, trying to make the tag. Dixon on the outside, reaching out. Boom. Step up in Seguri. Baylor. Yeah, Ricky Smokes is in. Shot. Nice teamwork. Look at the wobbly legs, man. Look at the sell. Drop kick. Oh! Into a power bomb and oof, only gets a 2. Nice pace to the match. Nice pace. Daisy, it's funny how the IWC seems to argue all the time, but we can agree that Jesse James is horrible in booking, as seen in Unreal. 'Tis true. I mean, I'm sure he's got some good elements. He comes across like a nice person in the sense of, you know, he actually says that for most of his career, he was under the influence. He's really been battling with addiction. And, you know, I mean, you see how emotional he gets about R-Truth. I mean, it's certainly nothing personal, but I think some of the glimpses you get of him in the creative process from Unreal don't really fill you with a great deal of confidence. Okay, Dixon going big. Taking down both of Swipe Right. Dixon flying through the air. He's climbing up top. Chase U looking to put Swipe Right away. Whoa! I love that. 1, 2. That should... Oh, my God. It's so annoying when someone hits, like, a really nice move and the other person just... So, look at that! Ah! Spins around in the air. He doesn't, like, rotate. Just kind of goes round. It's not like somersaults. Just... Well, he does rotate. He does rotate round, but he's not somersaulting rounds. It's not like a 450 splash or anything, but it's nice. It is nice. And I would have been deeply satisfied if that had been the finish. And now I'm just left annoyed that we're carrying on. If you want to carry on, you should have done that move later, because it was a lovely little thing rotating round. He landed it. It looked great. Nah, kick out. It just makes you go, what's the flipping point? What's the point? What's the point? None of it matters. Oh, God. That might be the moment that wrestling died for me. What's the point? Look, now this is happening. 1, 2, 3. It's a win for Swipe Right after they deliver a bit of a coup de grace type move. Wow. It's all rubbish now. Bam, bam, bam. That match was all right. Guys, good news. My love for wrestling has actually now come back. Good news. Okay, good 93 is what you lot said for the Josh Briggs match. Lot of soul searching needed now for Chase U. Ooh, are we teasing a split? The police have been called. There we go. We found a line. Here's Lola. Lucha Lola? It's quite a jacket. Lola says she's going to be up next for that title. Triple threat? Why have we just made a triple threat out of nowhere? What's he done for that? Shouldn't Blake... It don't matter. It don't matter. I mean, all I'm going to say is I haven't seen Izzy Dame do really anything wrong. So why is a triple threat bit? That feels like a punishment to the champion. And I don't really know why Thea gets a rematch when we don't really do rematches anymore. She just sort of walked in a leopard print coat and managed to get into a match. I honestly thought she was going to make them I mean, wouldn't you do Lola versus Thea and the winner faces the champ? Nah. We'll just do it straight into a triple threat. Straight into a triple threat. Plus also, like, where's Blake Monroe? Because she was meant to have a match, and then she's gone and got herself suspended. So what's the situation there? Are we just never bringing her back? And will she get the match that she was meant to get? Or has she now forfeited that? Maybe she's forfeited. Perhaps that's the punishment. Don't know. Repackage Uriah and have him team with his brother if they sign David Finlay, says Robbie. Why is Tatum not in the North American Championship match? She literally beat Izzy before the North American Championship match. That's another good point, Alexa Bliss Gamer. That's another good point. Surely she, having beaten the person that went on to become the champion, has got a claim to being in that. Perhaps the next part of the story will be her making that point. But then all that's going to happen is she's going to get added to the match, which will be a fatal four-way. It might make more sense for her to not say anything. Let them get that triple threat out the way. Then say, sorry, shouldn't I have had a match? Because then you might end up with a singles match, which is going to be much more favorable, rather than getting added to what is already a triple threat to make it a fatal four-way. God, it's a mess, isn't it? A lot of people like say that Ava is not very good as a GM, and it's little moments like that where I find myself agreeing. Do we think Carmella will ever come back? She was entertaining. She could be in a Rumble, absolutely, as a surprise. It's hard to see her coming back because she was never like the biggest of stars. We gave her some runs with like a women's championship. She won, one of those early Money in the Banks. She was meant to have won the first, but technically it's James Ellsworth that wins the first. But yeah, it's I don't know, difficult. I feel like she was fun. She was with R-Truth doing dance breaks. Do you remember that? When we used to have like a 7-second dance break. And she was with James Ellsworth. And they would go shopping. And she was like a bit of a kind of like comedy-ish character. But I just think with where the women's division now, with how much talent we've got now, with Io and Rhea and Bianca and Jade and Julia and Stephanie and Jordan Grace. So it's just, there's so much talent. It's really hard to see where Carmella would fit into that picture. So I'm struggling to see her return. But she could be in a Rumble as an appearance. She could be in a Rumble as an appearance. I missed the Chief Carmella and 24/7 storyline. That was good, says James. Frank says, Days, don't make me revoke my membership. Completely ignoring my membership. Well, your membership allows you to get into the member streams. You do one on a Tuesday, a Wednesday, and a Thursday. Okay, here's Keanu Carver is sat down with Blake Howards. Okay, he's got up. Yeah, it's not wise to touch him. There's not really much there, is there? I mean, he just doesn't really want to talk. So you can't really get too much out of those segments. Here's Miss Parker. She is... Miss Parker. She is over. Okay, she's going to say a few words. Let's see what she's got to say. She came back last week. Okay, she thanks the crowd after getting a really nice reception. Welcome back. Welcome back. She's like, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. I'm so happy to be back. She called us baby. A lot of things have changed around here, but one thing that hasn't changed is me. I was watching Kendal Gray show the world what happens when preparation meets opportunity. What a great line. I saw everything. Standards don't need to talk. This is a good promo. Oh, this is good. Yes! And the crowd reacts. And she responds to them. She's like, because I can hear y'all. I can hear all of y'all. Oh, she's getting emotional, man. What? There's emotion here. I think this is coming from the heart, you know. Everything's being performed. It's great. It's a hell of a promo. Oh, light's gone out. Light's gone out. Do you know? It's Blake. Put the spotlight where it belongs. There is the glamour. You can hear Jada going, go home. You made a grave mistake interrupting me. Blake said, I get it. She feeds off attention, and Miss Parker starts giggling at that. They see me. Can you not see me? I'm right here. Who's she got to deal with, Miss Parker? It's a flipping masterclass, that, from Jada Parker. It is a masterclass. She had things to say. She had great lines. Her delivery was on point. She performed a lot of the elements during that. She involved the crowds. The only thing I would say is that it felt like it was going a little bit too long. I feel like she'd got in, she'd made her points. I was ready to, wrap it up. But actually, just as I started thinking that, they turned the lights off. And then Blake Monroe interrupted. So, yeah, great. Amazing. We're backstage. Elio just thanked Ava for the opportunity earlier. Now we've got Ricky and Miles, and we've got Ethan. Blooming now, look at Dumb and Dumber. Tootles. The choice is yours. But we know what you need to do. What miles are we going to get? Are we going to get the miles that when he gets these opportunities, lets them pass him by? Or a miles that's going to show, a bit more of an edge, do what needs to be done? You've got people like Jada that's been grinding in NXT and improving her skills, showing what she's capable of. But then, in the meanwhile, you've got Maxine just beating Becky for titles. Well, you're preaching to the converted on that one. You're preaching to the converted. I suppose the only thing I would try and say in devil's advocate, in defense, is, not everyone's going to take the exact same path. There's different ways of getting to where you need to get to, and, Maxine is going down a road less traveled, but, or certainly recently. I mean, to sort of bypass NXT and have to do all your learning on the main roster, there's obviously big disadvantages to that, because the whole world's watching you learn. I mean, it's harder. Do you know what I mean? Or any bad matches, any bad promos, any skill deficiencies are going to be exposed to a much bigger audience, which means that, first impressions go out the window. And so it's kind of harder in a way to go the way that Maxine's going. But, yeah, I mean, I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't understand why they don't just put, you could put Maxine in NXT, work with her closely, build her up, make her a big focus of the women's division, get her, a presentation right, and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, I feel like the NXT women's division can accommodate her. I feel like she's young. They see something there. She's hungry for it. Yeah. It's a head scratcher, honestly. I sort of feel like what might have happened is they brought her up so that she could be with Maximum Male Models. She found herself under a main roster wage, right? Getting paid main roster money. And the problem is now, if you take her back to NXT, that's like, you're not going to drop her money. I don't think you're going to turn around and say, look, we're going to take you back to NXT. We're going to take your money back down. So I think they're just kind of going with her at the main roster level and trying to work with her there. Maybe the mistake was bringing her up when they did do Maximum Male Models and that didn't work out. And now, they're carrying on with her. I don't know what her contract looks like, but I don't know that at this stage they're going to look to drop the money and then drop her down. Perhaps they just don't want to drop her and her wages onto NXT. I don't know. I don't know if it's that. That would be a guess. That would be nothing but speculation, because other than that, I can't really give you a reason as to why we have not just moved her back to NXT, where she clearly needs to be. She's clearly not the finished article. She's clearly got more developing to do. If you look at her matches, you can see that they're behind some of the girls that are in NXT. She's a likable person. I think she's going to get there. I think she's going to be a star in the future, but it's just such a weird way of developing her. Such a weird way of doing it. So, yeah, I don't disagree. K-Dub said, I hope Natty drops a fire promo next Monday about how she put in work for years, and then Maxine just gets the title shot. Now it's her time. I tell you, the only thing with that, though, is... I don't know. It's a real hard one, this, for me, because I'm not a fan of it. I've never been a fan of it. So it's really hard for me to defend the Maxine stuff, right? Because I can't really do it because I don't agree with it. But there are people out there that are fine with it. If you start explaining to them on the show why it was, not right, are you actually going to start turning some people against Maxine? I mean, if Natalia says, I've been here all along, my body and my family embody the spirit of the Intercontinental Championship, what opportunities have I had for it? You come along after I've trained you and you just get title matches. And then you get, you win the belt with outside interference, and now you want to parade around and pretend. Wouldn't that be another example of the heel making a very valid point? Wouldn't that be another example, a bit like Drew and Kevin, where we go, yeah, can sort of see that. I don't know if that helps Maxine. It doesn't, does it? If the heel's going to make some points that make you go, yeah, I agree with that. How does that then make you root for Maxine? Surely in this feud, we need to root for Maxine, as she's the babyface. So, I don't know. This is a hard one for me, honestly. There are definitely things with creative that I think you could really, really struggle with, because you might just pick up a story that you really don't agree with and then get told, make that work. And you'd be like, well, I wouldn't have done that, all that. So I wouldn't have been in this position if I'd have been booking this. And now you want me to fix it. There'd be some of that stuff that would be really difficult. Blake's creative was cancelled because her call-up was imminent, and then it was delayed. Now they don't really have anything. So they're spinning their wheels, says Robbie. Gina said maybe they saw how Becky was great with Liv 4 or 5 years ago. Presume she could do the same with Maxine. But Liv had hundreds of matches prior. Maxine was just random rush attempts. Yeah, no, I hear you, actually. I think that you are correct. I think that I wouldn't have been shocked to have found out that Becky played a part. I think Becky, certainly now that we know that this could be her final contract, she's, her legacy is assured. She's arguably the, number one female wrestler in WWE history. And it's not just me saying it. Sports Illustrated say it, and Bleacher Report say it, and Becky herself says it. So I think she's very comfortable with what she's achieved and her legacy and the mark that she's made on the industry. If she is in this final phase now, yeah, it's about adding to that. But also, I think Becky is someone I could see wanting to bring people through. You see that actually in Unreal, where she's so full of praise for Lyra. And she's this is the next person. She's so lovely. She's so determined. I think she would feel that way about Maxine, about how she's determined and she's a lovely person and all that stuff. So it would not shock me if Becky played a part in saying, I want to work with Maxine. I want to get Maxine TV time. And we would all support that. I would support that. I would be on board with that. And I think WWE would be on board with it. And we did it for me, it's the decision to actually put the belt on her that I really oppose. But, yeah, you know, using Becky as Intercontinental Champion to get Maxine some matches and screen time, I don't think anyone would really push against that. But it was just putting the belt on her that was a bridge too far, man. So yeah, a really good point, Gina. I think you're on it. I think you're right. I could totally see Becky having played a part in that. Okay, we are underway with match number 4. So we did our tag match. We've had a great promo from Miss Parker. Now we've got another qualifying match. It's Eli Knight versus Sean Legacy. Eli Knight against Sean Legacy. There is Fatal Influence. Big women's tag match coming up. That triple threat's going to be really interesting. 61, 21, 10, and 8. So that comes out as good 92 for the Swipe Right Chase U match. Good 93 for Josh Briggs against Shiloh Hill. Elio Ethan, great 59. So that's how the matches have scored so far. Let's have a look and see how this one goes. Eli Knight against Sean Legacy, and we know how good Sean Legacy is. Haven't seen much of Knight, though. He's a new signing. Sean Legacy as well is someone that's not been on NXT all that much. We're actually getting treated to a real showcase of where NXT is moving to. You know, the first match showed us Elio. Second match showed us Shiloh. Third match had Chase U in. Now here we are with Sean Legacy and Eli Knight. Nice crossbody there. This is a night of showcasing where we're going. Look at that. Lovely springboard crossbody there by Sean Legacy. Chop coming in there by Legacy. Eli going back to the corner. Mitch said, I agree. They attempted similar with Liv. We saw her at 19. Creative, can't rush, very organic happenings. Good luck to Maxine, though. Yeah, I mean, I think Maxine is going to get there. You know, it's that line I thought was great from Jada. Preparation meets opportunity. And, you know, one thing you'd say for Maxine is that she is really trying to learn as much as she can. She's doing NXT house shows, working at the dungeon. So, you know, and the improvement is clearly there as well. You know, where she is now is in a much better place than where she was a year or two ago. So, you know, you fast forward another couple of years and she should be really getting there. And yeah, we saw the same with Liv. She was limited. And look at her now. Blooming hell. So, yeah, she'll get there. I'm confident of that. Right, we've gone to commercial break, but we're staying with the action. They should have promoted Adrenaline Drip, says Robbie. Benny said, some are looking forward to the main event, but I'm looking forward to when Carmen Live shows up. Well, that's probably about 10 minutes in it. Carmen Live should be around very soon. WrestleRant said, I need to know what Maxine did to Days. I think it's funny when we get Maxine did Summit to Days. She didn't do anything to me. As I said, I think she'll go on to do good stuff in the future. Big boots. It's just been, it's just one that just keeps coming up for some reason in chat. Shoulder up there by Eli. So we do occasionally just jump back onto it. Right now we got Sean Legacy kick coming in. I can't wait for the Wren QCC to take over, says Fight Me. Yeah, it's going to be... oh, another kick coming in. It's going to be a good year for them. Wren is definitely a secret, a sleeping giant, I think. Think she can definitely achieve some stuff. Wyatt said, why do wrestling fans put black wrestlers with other black wrestlers? Why do wrestling fans put black wrestlers with other black wrestlers like Keanu Carver, Oba? I don't know. I've not seen that. Oba's gone, hasn't he, to the main roster? I don't think their paths have crossed. I don't know. You'd have to ask whatever wrestling fan you've seen that from. Liam, shout out to you. Says she's had 9 TV matches prior to that Intercontinental title match. This is 2025 coded. Yeah, it does feel that way. Kick out. Okay, this has slowed a little bit. I think it's because we're at commercial break right now. Liam, shout out to you. I hope you're well. D. Monet, is it? Says, hello from Hoosier Town. Hello, Hoosier Town. Right now, these two, middle of the ring. Looking for, oh, no, back and forth. Eli trying to get up Sean Legacy. Shot coming into the midsection there by Eli. And again, got about 35 minutes to go. I don't know what's left other than the women's one. Have we got another men's one to come? Another shot coming in. I feel like there is. Duck underneath. Eli over the other side. Bang. Big clothesline. And we're coming back from commercial break. So if you are one of those that never gets the action during commercial breaks, you really don't miss much. I don't know how the crowd just started cheering then, because we were just watching and the crowd were dead. And then as soon as there's a little moment, I feel like just before we came back, one of these wrestlers must have gone like that, you know, because everyone was just applauding. We'd only gone to a black screen for like 20 seconds. These two exchanging shots back and forth. Another shot coming in there by Eli Knight. Getting driven back. Sean Legacy then in control. Over the other side. Big boot. Eli Knight. European uppercut there by Legacy. This is our second qualifier of the evening. Have we got all 4 tonight then? Have we got another 2 to do? Man. Oh, yeah. Picking him up. No, there's only 2 that are mentioned. So does that mean the other 2 are next week? That would make sense. There's Wren QCC. Sean Legacy over against the ropes. Eli Knight looking to charge. Oh, roll. Just got caught. Marked. Super kick. Legacy. Oh, look at that. Spanish fly there by Legacy. Legacy. Boom. Connects. 1, 2. Kick out. Kick out. Wrestlandy, hello. How far do we think Kit Wilson will get? Mid-card at best, like Chelsea. I think it's a jobber gimmick, so you'd have to change the gimmick. It reminds me a lot of Fandango. It's Chelsea, but to be honest, the thing with Chelsea is she's really good backstage. She's really funny. I don't know that Kit Wilson is that funny. He's got his toxic masculinity thing, which people might be a bit more engaged with now. But, yeah, I mean, look, he's hot because of the theme song. He was doing toxic masculinity not long ago. No one cared. All of a sudden, he gets a theme song that people love. And all of a sudden, he's become cool. I think it's a concern, if I'm Kit Wilson, that I've not got myself over. The theme music has got me over. Because That means as soon as people tire of the theme music, they're going to tire of me. So he has got to capitalize on this. He has got to find a way of connecting with the audience whilst he's got the interest. So, you know, this is going to be not a fads, but you know that there's it's going to settle down. People are memeing it and having fun with it at the moment, but you know, something else will come along, and this will lose some of its appeal. And he hasn't got himself over. This theme music's got him over, so he's got a job to do right now. Sean Legacy going for the cover there, but Eli kicking out. Goes up. Oh, sliced bread. Venti said sometimes there are commercial countdowns in arenas, so they make a little bit of fuss when the TV comes back. Also in arenas on screen, they let you know when we're back, etc. Venti, shout out to you, buds. Ooh, look at that. Sean Legacy 1, 2, and Legacy gets it. That's another shock for me, honestly. That's another shock because I'm not aware that Legacy is signed to NXT. They can obviously use him. He's not, you know, he's an Evolve talent. But Eli Knight has just signed to NXT. You know, Sean Legacy's struggling to get his hands on the Evolve Championship. Tony again? Oh, my God. Tony again? Where's the police? They got called earlier. Where's the police? Tony jumping out the ring is murking both. Is he working with Ricky? The way Ricky's yelling at him, like, what are you doing? Are these going to be in cahoots? He didn't attack him earlier, and he's not attacking him again. Granted, Ricky is, like, ready for him. He's in the ring. He's going to say something. He's going to speak. Here's police, look. Is that the police? Or the Shield? Guys, we've got this generation Shield arriving. Well, they're not the police. It hasn't got police written on them. What's going on here, then? Tony looks at them and he laughs. He puts his arms behind his back. They are going to cuff him. Tony D'Angelo is getting arrested. Crowd are booing. I think someone just yelled, "You felon!" Is someone else chanting, "Let him go"? Well, there we go. He's been arrested. Bad boy. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? He's gonna give up. He's gonna turn around like a little... And he's gonna put his hands behind his back. That's what he's gonna do. Fake cops just arrested Tony. Do you remember when Taker interrupted every match on Raw, says Defcom? We've done this a few times, and it does get a bit frustrating, so I'm quite happy he's been arrested. Days must have missed the HBK announcement that Legacy was promoted. Oh, yeah, did he get promoted, did he? Yeah, I did miss that. I heard that I saw the contract signings for Keanu Carver, Eli Drake. I haven't seen one for Legacy. So if it was just mentioned, yeah, I could have been talking at the same time. So, well, at least that makes a bit more sense. In my mind, Legacy was an Evolve talent. Struggling. I mean, he failed the other week to win the Evolve Championship. And Eli is someone they've just signed. So I was like, surprised they went with Sean, but well, there we go. Wayne said, were they fake cops? One of them was packing heat. Brony said, I'm expecting some news to pick up on this. We've seen a contracted WWE talent get arrested live on TV. I can't believe it. Clearly this is real, not scripted. I feel sorry for Tony. Yeah, it's going to be big fallout on this. I'll be on all the news. All that Greenland stuff, that's old news now. They won't even talk about that anymore. It's going to be all about Tony getting arrested tonight on NXT. What we ain't being told is that those cops were ICE. Tony is getting deported to Italy, said Hello Ross. Oh my God. Let's not go there. Let's not go there. We are trying to escape from the real world. Yeah. This is our little safe haven. This is our little bubble. Yeah. We're not talking about tariffs or Greenland or ice or smoke machines or whatever else is going on. I don't know. Or the fact that Macron wore glasses and it made him look like an extra out of Top Gun. I don't know what was going on there today. Yeah, all of that. Nana! We are here to talk about Vanity Project. Ba-da-dum, ba-da-ba-ba-dum. That's what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Jada Parker's great promo. We're here to talk about what has been a pretty solid episode, actually. Humpty Vision said, I'm a master of escape. They call you the Houdini of the community. Has NXT been a good show, says Jang. I think it's been solid. I thought it started well, and then it's dipped. I think it's dipped. But it's been a night of showcasing new talent. Not down on that. And, you know, we've done some stuff. Tony's been arrested. Keanu Carver. We're doing Summit there. Summit with Booker. We'll see you in Vegas. NXT Focus. So this was Izzy beating Thea for that championship. Yeah, she is. These are vignettes are where her promos will shine. She'll be fine in these. Yeah, Sean Spears is like, I'm impressed with the growth of both of you, but what has Nico Vance done? He's done nothing. Yeah, it's time we do the same. Tag titles. Oh, yeah. Here's Tony. You left me no choice. Na 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 na. Hey, hey, hey. Goodbye. Blake Howard's trying to get some info. He's going to prison. Is he going to say anything? The window's going up. He didn't say anything. You got to speak to his lawyer. Well, there we go. Oh. Bye, Blake. Yeet. Oh, where did Blake go? I mean, did he go flying then? Oh no, Blake's getting Byron Saxton. Who's that? Who's she? Who's she? Is that our new Zeta Steel replacement? Who are either? I don't even know who either of these girls are. I actually thought that was Carmen Petrovic for a second, but... Are they just girls that they're flirting with? Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Say his name, he appears. Ricky had his arm around a girl, and when we cut back, she's gone, and it's Joe Hendry there instead. Wait, and now he's looking for the girl? That is the best one I've seen. I kissed her? Did I just kiss Joe Hendry? That's the best one they've ever done. That was brilliant. That was great. That was great. That was genuinely funny. Guys, shut up. Now we've got Fatal Influence. We know that we flipping love this entrance. We're dialed in. It always lets us down these days, but we still watch. We still hope. We still remember the good times when Jasmine was there doing the old... Here's Fallon. Wonder how much of a nightmare that jacket... What the hell is this? What the hell is this? Oh, and this is the face team, is it? Just coming out and interrupting. Oh, their entrance sucks. Their entrance sucks. It's got all this really cool sort of vibe with Zaria, and then it's like straight into like surfing. Like that vibe just completely gets destroyed. You get a glimpse, though, don't you, of like how great Zaria's presentation is going to be when we actually do split these two. It used to be that way. Her presentation was really good, and everyone saw her as being like this badass and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I agree. They've got to stop combining those songs. It sounds horrific. It's really good. You really get into it as well. Like all these shots of Zaria, and it's like... da 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 da. More adverts. More adverts. Let's go. Washed influence. Get them off my TV with this terrible entrance. I know. It's not as good. It's not as good. Oh, man, that Joe Hendry thing was good, though. It's so bad, says WrestleRants. That Zaria video is fire, said V85. I think the fact that TNA defeated Collision in ratings shows potential. What does TNA need to get more viewers? Well, that is the question, isn't it? I mean, they need stars. They need star power, stars that can get over. Having great matches is obviously going to hopefully keep people around. But it's stars that are going to get people to tune in. So, you know, this is why when someone gets released by WWE, AEW and TNA are always going to be interested. And that's obviously a great frustration. But they bring some name recognition, and that is really valuable. And then if you bring them in and you get the creative right and you can really catch a wave with them, you can really get somewhere with them, like, you know, then you can go to new heights. So yeah, I mean, the honest answer is it's very, very difficult. If it was easy, then they would have been able to have done it. It's very, very difficult. You need to find people that you can really build up, really invest in, and you know, really kind of get behind. I think Mike Santana is kind of going through that process. How big of a star they can make him, don't know, but this is where him appearing in a Royal Rumble, him appearing at WrestleMania, like Joe Hendry did, or him just featuring on NXT on a regular basis. It's worth, I'm telling you, it is worth its weight in gold. I know that TNA fans, not all TNA fans see this, but it is worth its weight in gold. Carmen. Is Carmen around? Carmen! Hello, Carmen. Days, I've been here since 8:30 Central. Well, lovely to know that, Carmen. I hope you're well. I hope you've had a good week. Robbie said, I gave the debut episode a pass. A lot of visa issues messed up a lot of the storylines, and they had to rewrite things on the fly. Oh, that's interesting. I know that Leon had visa issues. I haven't heard about anyone else, but I have heard that it was a problem. So that's heartbreaking, though, isn't it? Because of all the episodes for it to get messed up with, I mean, you would not want your debut episode on AMC to be one of those that got affected. So that is heartbreaking. Carmen live for Hall of Fame. Here's Dark State. Dion. It was okay. That's fine. It was just, if you come at us, we're going to take you down type stuff. There's a nice little way that they started with two of them, and then they bring in Cutler, they bring in Dion Lennox, so that they could all have some little promo time there. James said, I just learned something. The fake cops got a total sentence of about 20 years and fined $2,000 to be sentenced 25 years, 20 years for stealing the car and kidnapping Tony. Oh my God. Well, they probably deserve it. There's no place in the world for people pretending to be cops. Unless it's Halloween or in the bedroom. Ideally both at the same time, actually. Right. All three teams are in the ring. It is triple threats women's tag. I just can't be bothered to write Sol Ruca, Zaria, Fatal Influence, Wren Sinclair. Well, I suppose I could get away with Wren QCC, actually, but... right, we are underway. Let's go. 15 minutes left, friends. 15 minutes left. Kendal graps. Yes. That is exactly the way we should look at this. It is time for some grey graps. Kendal graps. Double knees there by Kendal. Kick out by... Oh, whoa. Sol Ruca. Boom. And again. Kipping up everywhere. Look at that dirty look by Zaria. Blimey now. Zaria with a dirty look. So much drama going on. Okay, Kendal Gray moving out the way. In between the legs. Over the other side. Switch direction. Yep, boom. Lovely. Over the top. She didn't quite stick the landing, but it was a bit awkward, actually, to do. Nice chops. Nice. Working with Wren. Wren Sinclair. Double underhooks. That was good. Right now, Zaria grabbing Wren. Wren moving out the way. Zaria into the corner. In comes Fallon. Bang. Kick to the side of the heads. Lainey. Fallon gets chipped over by Zaria. Pulled out the ring. Bang. Kick coming in. Oh, JC. Ah. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty fast-paced stuff, actually. JC managed to diffuse that situation. Picking her up. Days, hearing Booker T singing Joe Hendry's theme on NXT last week and the week before, as well as fans in Belfast singing Logan Paul's Band from Japan, was hilarious. Yeah, they have all been good, I agree. Clothesline. Sol and Zaria go to the outsides. In the ring. Into the corner. Future multiple-time women's champion Kendal Gray. Really high on her. I think we all are. I think the whole wrestling world is. At Kendal Sol in a singles match, said Alfie, I still got hope for the team of Zaria and Rhea. Oh, I'm sure we'll get that one day, even if it's just a one-off thing. Both of them being Australian. Got to think that Rhea's kind of keeping an eye out for Zaria. One, two. Kendal in the ring, getting a 2 count. Okay. Jack said Zaria is holding Sol back. Are they finally going to split Sol and Zaria tonight? Oof. I mean, they sort of did it a little while ago. So messy. So messy. They were together, and then it felt like they split them. And then, yeah, for some reason, it felt like we delayed it. And I don't really understand why. There was a bit of an apology, and they got back on the same page. But you remember, like, Zaria, legit, like, a couple of months ago, like, tried to spear Sol, accidentally speared Kendal instead. Kendal on the outside. Very interesting. Wren goes down. Rings of Saturn for Fallon. Sol Ruca. different attire this for Sol Ruca. She's in black. Is that a sign of things to come? To be honest, I think Zaria's in black as well, though, so perhaps they're both turning heel. Wren. I think that's a cattle mutilator. She loves that spot. She's done it a few times. Chop block. Shoulder breaker by Sol Ruca. Fallon. Sol getting driven face first. We are at commercial break. Brony said the reason I don't join Raw or SmackDown is I just enjoy chatting to you guys during the NXT streams. Yeah, it is a lot busier. I mean, it's just busier, innit? I get it. I think, though, you know, that's something that I obviously always want to try and promote is I know that we can't get to everyone. We do get stuck into topics and we probably stuck in them far too long, right? But I've said before, it's hard to kind of get into, like, really get into stuff. I'm not very good at just going, here's the answer. Sometimes I have to explore it a bit to find what I want to say. And that just means we stick on stuff for a while. But, you know, this is where the community comes into its own, where they can be having conversations in the chat. I love seeing people talk amongst themselves in the chat. I want to promote that more. I love seeing, like, that happening. So hopefully, like, you know, people do that. People love doing that. Definitely want to keep highlighting that and promoting that, because I think it's good that people are having their own conversations. This is a place for conversation. I mean, social media should be a place for conversation. I believe it is. But it is also a place of, like, moodiness, isn't it? Yeah, plus also, you never know if you're speaking to a real person or a bot. I mean, there's a lot of fake accounts. There's a lot of tribalism. There's just a lot that goes on, isn't there, with social media? I would like to think, whether it's true or not, I'm not sure, but I would like to think that this is a community of wrestling fans that want to talk wrestling. And I think there's real value in, like, you lot having conversations amongst yourselves, which, as I said, I think does happen. Crowd are chanting, "This is awesome." William said, "I get to everyone. It's my job to read comments, Days." We need an answer to William's question. It was a top-tier question, Carmen. Over in the corner. Carmen, please answer William's question, as long as it was PG, and it probably was not. So you probably don't have to answer it, actually. How long we got left? 7 minutes? Oh, my God! Guys, we've only got 7 minutes. What the hell happened to this week's NXT? I thought we still had about half an hour. 7 minutes. Duck underneath there by Wren. Bang. She drives her down, going over, making the tag. Coming in, grabbing Soul. Against the ropes. Bang! Back elbow. 1, 2. Oh, kick coming in. Carmen has responded. Says, I don't think Raw and SmackDown suck. Days, I'm usually here for the streams, but I'm just copying Carmen's comments. It's a good approach. Kick out there by Kendal. Lainey thought she had got it. Look at that. That was lovely. That was lovely work by Lainey. Lainey, really quite impressive work, you know. Considering this was a girl that just came out of nowhere and then replaced Jasmine, you can see why they're keen on her. Whoa, that's great. Oh, my God. Kendal through the rope. Back out. Oh, lovely. Into an armbar. Asuka-esque. Asuka-esque. Someone from the heavens. Someone from the heavens. Armbar. There we go. You could tell it. So, you could tell it because Kendal was sort of like looking for it. I think that Soul might have meant to have broken that up just a whisper earlier. Women's wrestling. That is right. That is actually true. That is what this is. Don't ever say that the NXT crowd are not knowledgeable crowds. They know exactly what they're watching. Shot coming in. Another shot there by Kendal. Big boot to the midsection. Duck underneath. Over the other side. Ah, lovely throw. Look at that. Belly to belly. Oh, my God. So good. Oh, love that by Soul. Planting Kendal. Face first. I want to see Soul against Kendal one-on-one. Give it me. Give it me. Kendall's more mat-based. Amateur wrestling background, but not in a catcher's catch-can way. And obviously, Soul brings innovation and agility. That'd be a great match. Soul going over, leapfrogging over. Zaria, whoa, went to the outside. Kick coming in. Zaria, oh, duck underneath. Headbutt. 4 minutes. Kendal, look at that. Flatliner. 1, 2. Yeah, now Lainey's, oh my God, she just flipping knocked her into a shadow realm. Did you see JC on the outsides? There's little things going on that even the camera's not quite picking up. It's chaos. It's carnage. Into the barricades. So much fun. Kick coming in by Lainey. And again. Yeah, really good. Really good. Oh, my God, Lainey. Oh, my God. She just flipped over Zaria. Got her into a crucifix. Oh, wow. This has been a real eye-opener for me for Lainey. A real eye-opener. I thought she was going to go for a soul snatcher, you know, Fallon then. Fallon went to the corner. Soul makes the save. Duck underneath. This match has been fire, said Kato. I completely agree. Back in the ring. Here comes Lainey. I've been really impressed with Lainey in this match. I'm always impressed with... double soul snatcher! That might do it. On the shoulders of Zaria. This might do it. Boom! Feels good. 1, 2, 3. Ruca. Pick up the victory. Honestly, it felt like it could have been any of them teams. Any of them teams could have got the win. Ruca, get it. So there ain't going to be no split tonight because they've got themselves a tag title opportunity. Okay, Zaria's like, okay. Great match. Really, a double snatch. Nice, says Trini. Nice. Really enjoyed it. And can we please give Lainey some flowers? Because I've not been quite seeing it. But I definitely saw it in this match. Good. Well done. Well done, everyone. There's Lainey. Looking gutted. There is the consigliere man. What did she just say there? I don't know what that was. They just cut to Fallon, and Fallon just went, oh, blah, 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 said something. It was like she grabbed her belt because she didn't know if she had it or not. Oh, breaking news. OTM, Dark State, next Tuesday. Right. I'm glad they didn't make Kendal take the pin. So, it's a bit of a flat ending, isn't it? It's a bit flat because it was an amazing match. And now, like, we've just got a lot of standing around. That was a lot of standing around at the end. My God, someone punch someone. Where's Tony? Can't he take out some of these women? He's been interrupting a lot of these matches. Can't he get involved in? Probably not a good look, to be honest. Probably not a good look. Great main event. But the show overall was a bit... Steve said, I think Keanu Carver might eat Andre Chase next week. He's going to squash him. Choke him. Actually, my throat has done well. I said during the members that I've got a bit of a sore throat at the moment. And it did really well throughout the streams. Right now we've got to the end. It's starting to struggle. My throat was willing to watch NXT, but it's given up now, so. We are going to just get these final scores. I haven't got any. I'd like some water. I haven't got any. We're going to get these final scores. I'm going to have something to eat. I still haven't eaten. I'm going to finish watching episode 5 of Unreal, and then we're going to try and get Unseen done. Trini said, Lord, thank you for days and him forming this community for my fellow psychotic, hilarious friends that really do make my day. Trini, shout out to you. I think more people should thank the Lord for me on a regular basis, but, whatever. Once is fine. That's fine. Boomers TV, shout out to you. Boomers TV always lets people know the stream is going to end shortly, and Boomers TV is always right as well. My phenomenal figure, shout out to you, scores it a 6. Corey is out. Sausage continues, says Akeem. I don't know what we mean by this, but I'm going to say yes. Good night, Draco. And we love you, Trini, says Corey. Speak for yourself. Word Life Cena gives it an 8. Big Time said, Days, I can't take swipe rights. Ricky Smokes and Brad Baylor, can't even say it, Brad Baylor, seriously, because they look like local indie talent that you would bring in for squash matches. Okay. Robbie said, I'm going to assume that there won't be a February NXT PLE. It's usually around Valentine's weekend. There hasn't been anything announced. And there's not really much time with less than a month left. Don't know, honestly. I haven't heard that they're cancelling anything. There's been no word that they're not doing anything. So maybe they do. Maybe it's just at the PC. Perhaps there won't be one that they actually take on the road. Or perhaps there won't be one. Perhaps we don't deserve one. WrestleRant said Soul needs to only do her finisher from the corner. That's when it looks amazing. I hate the double Soul Snatcher. It looks sloppy. Akeem, shout out to you. James said 8 out of 10. Good matches, good promos. Letting fake cops arrest Tony is dragging this down from being a 10. Since Ava let felons in the building to kidnap Tony D. Duran, shout out to you. And Jadam, shout out to you. Okay. Jason as well. I don't know if you shouted out Jason, giving it a 7 out of 10. Okay, match scores. Great. You lot said great 84. Whew. You flipping loved it. You couldn't get enough of it. Like a fat kid in a chocolate shop. You absolutely loved it. You loved it. You had the time of your life. So there we go. Great 84. I thought it was solid. I think that we end on a high with that main event match. I think we started strong. We ended strong. We certainly had a few bits in between. I don't think there was anything that massively drags the score down, but I don't know that there's anything that really kind of blows my mind either. I rate the Jada Parker promo. I thought that was really strong. And really, I think this was a night of showing us the future. And you know what? The future looks okay. The future looks okay. I think we could definitely still add a bit more to the roster. But there's definitely a foundation there. Who's going to be that next champ? Who qualified, actually? Shiloh and Sean Legacy have both qualified for the ladder match. I mean, I can't see either of them winning it. So it's going to be very interesting when we get the next qualifiers, because I think it's going to be the winner of whoever that is. So how many people go in, actually? Is it 4 or 6? Is it a 6-man ladder match or a 4? It's got to be 6, hasn't it? Because you ain't having surely you ain't having 4 with Shiloh and Sean Legacy making up half the field, because there ain't no way they're winning the NXT Championship. I think is it 6? Someone's going to say. I think it's 6, said David. Yeah, I think it's 6 now I've said it. Interesting, though. great showcase for them. It is 6, said Real John. Thank you. Thank you. Right, well, there we go. We are done, my friends. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it as always. We are back tomorrow for a little bit. We'll be back tomorrow for a bit of Evolve. Of course, we're heading to Saturday night's main event, and I need to get that set up. So, but I need to finish Unreal and all that stuff. So, yes, have a great evening wherever you are. Thank you for joining us as always. Shout out to Grog Vlogs. Says 28 months. Sorry for my inactivity. I've just been busy. Grog Vlogs, no problem. Lovely to see you back around, buds. Hope you enjoyed NXT. And it's a good time to be back in wrestling. There's plenty going on. Plenty of conversation. Definitely feels like there's a bit more of a buzz around as we head to Rumble. And I'm sure by the time we get through that, there'll be even more chatter as we head to WrestleMania. So WrestleMania season almost upon us. Right, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. See you next time. Bye for now.